Malevolent Movies presents The Hunt for Bad October. Nicholas has selected Doll Factory.
Hey, welcome everybody to Malevolent Movies presents The Hunt for Bad October. This is episode number 2. Basically what we've been doing, if you haven't been caught up to snuff yet, is 5 of us, Joe, myself, Nick, Trevor, and Zach, have found a movie, went out and searched the world and found the best of the worst based on some keywords that we were given, taken straight out of a hat. Last movie was The Demon's Rook, and today's movie is Nick's, and it is Doll Factory. Nick, what sort of info do you have for us about Doll Factory?
It's a good movie.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
I mean, I'm elephant in the room. It's basically a shot-for-shot remake of The Goonies.
Fuck off. Was the font the same?
See that?
Yeah, the font is exactly the same.
Yeah, you guys didn't see it?
Yeah, there was like some horrible ogre-looking woman who had like an eye drooped down.
Yeah.
Sure. What the fuck? God damn it.
Just
you
let
talking
it
about?
be.
You trying
Just
to say Mama
let it-
Fratelli is
let it
lost?
be.
Yeah.
This podcast broke its leg.
Yeah,
You got to shoot the podcast.
you're mashing a character and your mom Judaline together for one thing.
Absolutely
Joe.
not. No, my mother is a
With a
lovely
droopy
woman.
eye.
Is that what Judaline looks like? Is
She does
the
not
sloth
look like
and Mama Fratelli?
Absolutely not.
offspring is Judaline?
No, people have seen my mom.
All
Not
right,
Ju-
listen. Our good pal Nick's trying to tell us
Okay.
about this silly movie.
Yeah, I sure am.
He's the one that launched us into this Goonies charade.
I mean, so hey,
You
we're
got
on.
Goonied! Anyway, Doll Factory is your... It's a movie with dolls, killer dolls. Think of them as...
What were your 2 keywords?
My 2 keywords were killer dolls and body horror. And I'm playing the body horror card very loosely, but I'm playing that killer dolls as that's that's my ace in the
It's
hole.
a jackhammer to the face.
Oh, yeah.
So I got somewhere.
I will give you some credit. I do think that there are some gruesome kills that I think
Yeah.
that technically,
There's kills in here that I wish I hadn't seen.
Yeah.
Like there's some disgusting fucking things. I was like,
What?
yeah,
You
that's
didn't
some
like,
body horror.
You didn't like the penis amputation?
No, I did not, Joe. That's in
Okay.
my part though, so I'm looking forward to talking about that part.
It's interesting that after it was severed, you had penis envy, Joe.
Yeah. Once it was on the ground, all bloody in the dirt.
No, my penis is bigger than that man's penis. I can
My
guarantee that.
penis is bigger than my man's penis.
No,
I got a better penis than that man, though. Sound like Forrest Gump.
I am gonna measure it with my mother's measurement tools.
Measurement tools. What
I don't
kind
know
of
what it's
measurement?
called. The stick, the
Joseph
yardstick.
Buckley, get in here. We're gonna measure your penis.
Have you been touching my measurement tools?
Why is it every time that your dick comes up in conversation, your mom's in the next sentence?
Because, well,
They go hand in hand like chocolate and peanut butter.
Absolutely
yeah,
not.
it's some
No.
kind of complex.
Okay, Nick, salvage this, please.
So it's like Goonies, okay, but with killer dolls. Sure. It's a killer doll movie, and it's bad, but in that way that bad movies are.
Yep.
I don't
You can do it. Come on.
know.
Okay.
The thing that I think kept coming to mind for me was the sense of humor. Maybe not the first Ginger Dead Man, but the third one.
Very specific.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the only one I've actually watched. That level of humor and plot development.
Yeah, I mean, it felt very much like somebody was trying to make a Kevin Smith horror. Somebody tried to make Yoga Hosers before Yoga Hosers.
Yeah.
But
Although
better.
it might have been the same year.
Either way.
I think this was before.
Crude, it's crass. It set us back a few
I don't wanna-
decades.
I don't want to give spoiler alerts for the end of the episode, but I think this is a lot better than Yoga Hosers. Come on now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Leaps and bounds.
That's
Remember
fair.
we watched that thing? Joel Place? Piece of garbage.
I here's what I want to get this out of the way because I'm sure the director is going to be listening to me specifically because I tend to shit talk the directors more than anybody.
Well, you're the director out of all of us.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Like I get it.
It's a mess. So the script is shit, and the acting is shit.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I loved it.
I think that's on purpose.
I absolutely craved it because to me it felt like, and this could be wrong, but it felt like they were like, oh, look at this dialogue. It's so quippy. We're all like hard on each other. Like everybody's just an asshole to each other. And we get to say these like super sweet dig at each other lines. And like everybody was super pumped about it. Like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to go to my senior year of high school and talk about the movie I made over the summer. And it was just like, it felt like the shot lingered on everybody when they delivered their line. You get like a little bit of stank out of their eye, and then it goes to the next person who's just feeding it right back. And it was like they were shoveling the shit into my mouth, and I loved it.
I only got that during the early scenes with the whole group of friends.
Yes.
Once it was kind of broke off into the main crew, I didn't feel that anymore, which was a fucking relief, because that party scene was a real chore to get through. I have to say, I hate like half of that cast.
Oh, I hate Mark. I fucking hate Mark.
Him too. Yeah, but
I think I might even hate the actor.
I mean, yeah, probably.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know any of the names. I only know them by their costumes.
Mark,
I've got the IMDb pulled up.
Mark is
Okay,
the main
good.
guy throughout the movie. He was Dracula.
Dracula?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's the kid who's like in the
Because I
whole
was
thing.
happy that everybody was dressed in a very basic sort of Halloween costume. You got a skeleton, you got a Dracula, you got a
witch, a devil,
crazy cheerleader, you got a pirate. You know, so I was happy that it was
Well,
easy
they had to spend the budget on the killer dolls. You can't be going to no Value City costumes.
I don't think a lot of budget
I
went
think
to
they
the
went
dolls.
to Value City costumes.
No, that was too expensive. They went to the Dollar Tree costume section.
Okay, so I'm going to set the stage for us. It is a Halloween night, 1976, if you can imagine it. We are in a factory, a doll factory. So what looks to be a sheriff and his deputy we're just jumping right into the action, by the way. We're just a sheriff and the deputy just blasting away at something.
Hey, actually, I'm picturing it in my head, Nick. Does the sheriff look awfully young?
He does.
I wonder if that's going to come back later.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's relevant.
I love it.
So the young
fucking loved
sheriff and his deputy.
Like when we got this and it started like this.
Yeah.
I seriously thought to myself, Nick, you really did it.
You knew exactly what this movie was.
I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna call it. I think we're
it's
done.
over. It's over, folks.
First scene.
Well, because they have the joke that I thought was going to set the tone for the whole movie was like the one condom, or the cop pulls a condom out of his pocket, and it's just like, look what I've got. Isn't this weird? And then I was like, oh, come on. Like, let's not start there.
That's how doll factory's rolling already, coming in real hot.
They're not tricky. You weren't tricked into watching the rest of this movie. You got exactly.
Well, you're the trickster.
Yes.
We got what we deserved.
This wasn't no goddamn treat. I expected Mike and Ike's, damn it.
What? You can have them, dude.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're in a doll factory.
Yes.
Deputy, sheriff, they're blasting away. They're shooting at something while there's this dude in the back reciting some nonsense from this book. Looks to be a spell book. So they're in a dire situation. They're running out of ammo. This is at which point the deputy is searching for more ammo. Finds a used condom. Hilarity ensues.
Yep. You're storing the bullets in it?
Yeah. And then we start to see them. We start to see the little critters. They don't even wait for the reveal. They just start showing you.
Well, when you have gold, you might as well just hand it out.
Yeah, just
Yeah, we're here for the dolls. Give us the dolls.
right up front. We're seeing those dolls. One of them latches onto the face of one of the cops of the deputy and gets his face just torn right off. Just right off the bat.
Right off the bone.
Right off the bone.
Meat right from the bone.
So there's a little back and forth because he's.
Thanks, Ryan.
That got
I
Ryan.
heard that.
Thanks,
I
Ryan.
heard that way back there. See, Trevor sounds far away to me, so when I hear
Oh,
that,
then I
it was good.
forget.
Sorry.
Yep.
Right from the bone.
Right. Oh no, I'm sorry, Nick.
There's a lot of
Nick writes like a book.
Yeah, it's like a novel.
It looks
There's so much to keep track of.
it looks like a mad
there's
pirate
so much
diary.
going
It was
on.
a doll factory.
Well, he's like R.L. Stein. He's got like 60 pages right here.
We're not even 45 seconds into the movie at this point. But there's a little back and forth between the dying cop and the other cop talking about banging his dead wife.
Oh, hell yeah.
Is this gonna come back? Is this important? Or is this a joke? It's a joke. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And it's not the first time it's been done.
Yeah. No. So meanwhile, the dude in the back, he is reciting some stuff. He says, blah 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 blah.
Darius?
Yeah,
Yes.
Darius.
Okay.
Grumley, I think is
So
last
somebody
Yeah,
seaweed
Darius
wrap.
Grumbling.
Yeah, he keeps reciting something. There's something in that book about a seaweed wrap. I don't know if it's a sushi book.
Yeah, it's a
something.
bunch of health-conscious demons.
It's like a bunch of incantations, but it's all a bunch of silly
Yeah,
words.
just nonsense words.
Yeah,
It's fine.
Simpsons
so
did that too,
goofy.
but
It's
it's fine.
fun.
Hey, we're having fun.
And the book is deliberately made to look like the Necronomicon from
Oh, yeah.
Evil
Yeah,
Dead.
absolutely.
If you poke its eye, it probably shrieks.
But, yeah.
We see something. They see something off in the distance, and it is horrifying. Whatever it could be, we don't know.
Sorry. I assume it was the master, correct?
I'd have to say so.
Okay.
Yes. Spoiler alert: there's a master.
Look out.
At which point, there's a film transition where the reel starts to burn, and we get it. We get that title card.
Title card I liked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice.
Goonies.
Well, it was-
the
yeah, it
Goonies.
was
Goonies,
Right,
just a
right.
rip off of Friday the 13th, right?
Yeah, Friday.
Yeah, yeah. So that was nice. It was fun.
Flash forward. Halloween. Present day. We're at a party. It is swinging. It is bumping. We got kids.
Until we go to the kitchen when there's no music.
Yeah, no.
But there's a live band there. Don't forget.
This
band's
I got
kicks-
it. I got it in here. Don't
Okay.
worry.
You got the band in here?
Yeah.
I can't
on
hear
out.
them. Oh, yeah.
That's the thing.
They're setting up outside.
Why, it's Mr. John Williams.
Yeah. Everyone is in a.
Sure, why
Hey,
not?
Joe.
Everyone's in a fun costume. We got all the hits, all the big ones. We got a Frankenstein's monster. We got a vampire. We got a witch. We got a cheerleader or something.
Got a pirate, I think, or a skeleton.
Yeah. All characters. Oh, well, that's basically the name of the characters because who could be bothered?
Yep.
There's a Frankenstein's monster. It kind of looks like Seth Meyers. And then there is a vampire who kind of looks. I don't know the actor, but he was Plop in The Office.
Oh yeah. I don't know. No one
Yeah.
knows his name.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, he's
But
not
also,
important.
he sort of
Jake
looks like a
something.
poor man's. The guy who plays Superman right now. A poor, very thin version
Cavill?
of him. Henry Cavill.
I didn't
and I think
see
it's because
that,
the I think it's the contouring here that he has from his Dracula thing that makes me think he looks like a Henry Cavill.
Jake Lacey, I think, is that guy's name. Nick.
Yeah. Well, he's the
Nobody
lead.
cares, but I think that's his
He's
name.
the star of this film.
Yeah.
So we go to the kitchen. We meet the cast, and they're talking about
They're,
a band
they're
we
just
can't hear.
doing a read-through of the script.
Basically, the friends, they're talking. They start to disparage some poor woman's physical appearance.
Okay, that fucking frustrated me.
Yeah.
Because
what the fuck was the deal with that?
so they
She
show
looks like a
normal
body
lady.
shaming.
Yeah.
they keep setting up this atrocious looking woman, and they cut to her for like half a second and then cut away.
Well, I screamed. Whenever I
And-
saw that shot, I screamed.
yeah.
Stop killing comedy, boy!
I do not deserve a sound drop.
Hit it again. Hit him
Stop
again.
killing comedy, boy!
No, absolutely not.
Oh, Doll Factory, the gift that keeps on giving.
Anyways,
Oh,
they cut to it and they cut away too short because I thought that she had like just piercings all over her face.
Yeah.
Which I assume now, or was told by my girlfriend, that it was like warts and things like that.
Yeah.
But they're at a
also-
costume party.
It's a Halloween
Halloween.
party.
Well, she looks like
mean,
a spooky witch.
I get it, but
Yeah, it's a costume.
Like if you're gonna, if you're
that
gonna
one guy isn't red.
yeah, if you're gonna set up a shot, if you're gonna set something up like this, you have to do like the Ren and Stimpy shot. You got to hold on it,
Yes.
make it stanky.
Well,
Make
and
her look
also
like a
she's
McBoyle.
like, she is like quite popular. She's surrounded by people who
Yeah.
apparently
Yeah.
aren't super off put by her physical appearance. There's just
well, she
these-
makes out with the guy.
Yeah.
Before they leave.
It's
So-
ridiculous.
Well, which is weird because he's very drunk, and she, as far as we are aware, is not drunk. And he does, like, he's all amped up on her, and the rest of the gang is like, no, don't go over there. She's gross, she's ugly, and he does anyways, and he has a good time, and then they pull him away. But before they pull him away, they point out, oh God, he's gonna rape her, and it's like,
No. They say that she is going to rape him.
Yeah, because he's drunk.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes the
I
joke.
missed that.
It's a
Not
very
better.
progressive film.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
It's progressive in like a more backwards
well, until
way.
we get to the police station.
Yeah, that sheriff's got a couple of lines there.
The dentist's office.
That was
So-
almost like a documentary.
Stop killing comedy,
No,
boy.
absolutely not. That was a good line. No, I'm going to
If not
defend
for
that. That
anything
was a
else,
good
thank
line.
you, Doll Factory, for giving us a soundbite that will haunt Joe for the rest of his steps.
How is that
I'm
like a
going to
documentary,
I'm going
Joe?
to push past it because that's how cops actually talk in real life. So it's almost like they just brought a camera into a
Because you know
police
that, Joe,
station.
because you've had so much, interference with the law. You've been arrested so many times.
Oh no! I just watch clips on YouTube.
He had that brush with the law once. That's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Joe's
Slurpee
an old
incident.
felon.
Yeah, the Slurpee incident.
Yeah, that's right. That won't happen, Nick.
So this party sucks. We got
Yeah.
Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Guys, come on. You know what? There's a quarrel. There's something going on. So Mark's girlfriend, her
K is her name.
Kay? I thought it was Kate.
K.
K,
Yeah,
K-A-Y.
I do remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
K-A-Y.
All right, I'm gonna call her Kate. She's dressed like a vampire. So her ex-boyfriend is there, Ian, which whew,
What a character he is.
you
Well,
know
he's a
what?
pirate.
Ian is
Yeah, he's dressed as a pirate.
real piece of work. You know?
Ain't he?
Well, Mark ain't no gem.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Kay has bad taste. That's the point.
Yeah. Nobody's coming out of this unscathed. Nobody's coming out of this movie looking good either.
No.
Yeah, maybe the killer dolls themselves.
Oh yeah, I'll give Joe that.
Yeah,
I
actually.
like the two stoners on the couch. They're fun.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Later
yeah.
on.
I like those stoner guys too.
so it's decided that we're gonna get out of here. So there's a witch friend, maybe a real witch apparently, but also dressed as a witch. And she just happens to have a giant spell book with a leather face on it.
Has it?
Yeah, in her closet.
She says, she says, I found this in my mom's closet, immediately followed by the line, where did you get that?
the editor just got the shots mixed up.
Yeah.
In my mom's closet.
So anyway, they now have this spell book, and the first leap in logic is, let's go to that abandoned factory and conjure ghosts. And for the most part, it's met with resounding cheers.
Okay, so here's my thought. I'm already going to dive deep into this. I get the feeling that there was initially, maybe in the script, a setup for a sequel, because it's pointed out when Kay, Mark, and Melvin are with Darius, that old Darius, I should say, he has a line where he says that they, referring to him and the sheriff, young sheriff, buried it after their encounter in the 70s. And no explanation of how or why this girl's mom had it in her closet. So my feeling was that there was some connection between her mom and Yegor, who, spoiler alert, is the master, this guy who owned a doll factory. And that got either cut before filming or they cut it out of the movie or something. Because I feel like there was weird setup in this for the sequel that just got left behind.
Like a sequel prequel.
Yes,
deal.
something was supposed to happen.
Hey, maybe that's our thing.
Yeah.
That's where we go.
Because oh, sorry, Joe, hold on one more thought.
Okay.
I got the feeling that for some reason this girl was supposed to do that. Like her mom wanted her to do that.
I got you.
Like intentionally. Sorry, go, Joe.
Oh, well, I just assumed that like Darius would have kept the book after, and he probably would have slept with this woman at some point and just handed her the book.
Oh.
well, that would have been a good gag.
That's that's actually not bad. Yeah,
Is
why
it
doesn't he
possible?
just have it?
Is it possible that you two have already put in more thought into how the book got into her possession than they did?
Maybe.
Stop
Is that
killing
possible?
comedy, boy.
I'm just saying.
There's a lot of jerk-off jokes that they had to focus on.
Yeah, they couldn't get any backstory in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you ever see Mark Hamill do that impression of Harrison Ford where
Yes.
he's like, it ain't that kind of movie, kid. it's not that kind of a movie, Tyler.
yeah, I don't know if you
Yeah.
knew this, but Harrison Ford passed on the role of Mark.
I read that in IMDb.
That's unfortunate for all of them. As long as he wasn't bringing his Expendables 3 game.
But I do think that Mark Hamill did play Yegor.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Well,
Oh, is that it, Nick?
No, because we are getting out of this party. So So we're leaving the party. And who do we pass by on our way out? But Ian and his goons.
His goon squad.
He does have 2 goons.
Yep.
So there's a little bit of a squabble. Ian pushes he assaults a girl, and then someone assaults him back.
Oh shit! He full on puts his hand on Kay's face and shoves her.
Oh, that's right.
Like I remember thinking that was violent even for the filming.
Yeah.
Like that looked dangerous. Did they, maybe there was a stunt double? I don't know.
It's not too hard to take a slap.
They didn't get a stunt.
No, it wasn't a slap. It was
Yeah,
like
just like a
he
push.
palmed her
Hey,
face
Nick.
and then went, fuck.
Go slap Joe.
All right.
Yeah.
Across the face.
This is a podcast, sir, not a film.
It doesn't matter. That sound will reverberate.
Okay.
Get that
time.
microphone real close for me, boys.
Ian is a real jerk. Is what we're getting at.
He sucks.
So there's a little bit of a fight. So they all start to get into it. There's a
Oh, hold on,
there's a
hold on,
Wilhelm
now.
scream.
Yes,
There's
it
like
was.
3 in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It's great.
I'm
loving it.
There's a great gag in there. I'll give Mark this one thing for the whole film. So Ian shoves Kay, and these 2 guys are getting real fired up. Current boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, because Ian just keeps saying stuff about how Kay is going to please him after she's done with Mark, etc. And while he keeps like ragging on Mark, Mark's like looking down the ground. Yeah. And he like pops his head up and looks at him. He's like, yeah. And then he punches him. Yeah. And I was like, I wish they had done that moment for like 30 more seconds of Mark like getting closer to the ground. Like, because it was like he was trying to be like, oh, I'm distracted by something over here. And then boom.
He's
and then-
powering up for an uppercut.
Exactly.
His elbow has to touch the ground for it to be a full power uppercut.
like Dark Moon Rising.
Yes.
Serpent's punch.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's got to
God.
announce all his moves like he's a Digimon.
Dracula's uppercut.
I was
I
thinking
will-
Donkey Kong.
Yes.
I do think that Mark, for a lot of his lines, for his credit, he has some decent comedic timing. Like there are times where Mark
Yeah,
talks.
you
I'm
can
like,
go to
all right,
hell, Zach. You can go right to hell.
He's not good at acting, but some of his lines are delivered really funny.
He's got decent timing
Okay.
for goofs.
All
Yeah,
right.
he's not a good actor.
Sometimes there is comedic timing in this movie.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Sometimes
Rarely.
it does
Yeah.
pay.
And we'll point out all 3 times.
And when it hits, it's
We've
like a
already
fucking
missed
home
one.
run.
Yeah.
Like it's incredible when it hits because it never hits in any other movie we watch. So it's such a novelty when it does
Yes.
hit.
And that's it. They're gone.
That's it for
They're
Nick.
off to the titular doll
The
factory.
doll.
Yeah, they're off to the
Yeah.
doll races.
Is there a doll factory in this movie?
Wow. You'd be surprised.
All right, so I'm up. Here we go.
Rise up
The 7 friends show up at the factory. They take 2 cars. They show up to get in 2 cars. And
Why
they
did
go
you have
into
to
the
point
fac-
that out?
Well,
Because-
they're saving gas.
Because
I mean, yeah, they're spending
because
more
they're
gas.
both identical cars. It's like
I
just
guess
2
I
white
didn't see
cars
that.
just showed up. But the 7 friends show up at the factory. They go inside. They begin to do the seance. So there's a pentagram on the floor. There's lit candles. They're all sitting around the pentagram. Mark says, well, hold on, everybody. We got to do the human sacrifice, which, makes everybody titter for a second. Then he's like, no, I'm just kidding. There's not going to be a human sacrifice. And then the witch, I don't know her name, but I'm just going to call her Witch because she's not in the movie for very much longer. She's like, look, there's not going to be human sacrifice, but you guys have to follow what I say. You have to do what I say. I'm going to read from the book. You have to do what I say. And then this is when we begin fun back and forths amongst the devil, the kid dressed up as the devil, and the kid dressed up as a skeleton. A lot of talking about
The devil
jerking
was the
off.
drunk friend back at the party.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. And the 2 of them, there's a lot of homoeroticism, a lot of talking about jerking each other off.
Oh, yeah.
It's just
Joe loved
terrible,
it. Couldn't get enough.
embarrassingly unfunny dialogue. Just for
Yeah, I hate
just
those 2.
back and forth, and it
I
just
loved it.
doesn't
Really?
stop.
Man, we're
Oh,
like
I loved it because it was so bad. I
Well,
didn't
sure.
think
Yeah.
I didn't think it was either funny or it was like the mixture of you put the 2 wrong ingredients in, but somehow they still had a chemical
But it
reaction.
still works. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. The skeleton guy was the weakest link for me in this.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
I really did not like him. I really wanted to turn it off at the party whenever he was talking because I just couldn't stand it. I was like, I can't.
And this entire sequence when they're all around the pentagram is just some of the worst shit. And it's like it's none of it is funny. And I felt this is the moment, even though I
Thrived
don't,
off this.
even though I don't think the actors in general are very strong, at least this initial core group, I don't think even Richard Harris himself could have made any of this dialogue or any of these jokes worth a shit. Oliver Reed with a martini in his hand couldn't have pulled this shit off. I mean, there
Marlon
comes a point
Brando.
where even the greatest actor can't act through garbage, and all of the dialogue in this is fucking embarrassing.
So what you're saying is a shot-for-shot remake with the best actors of the day.
Yes.
Greatest living
And
actors currently.
See, you put some Ian McKellen in there. Give me Michael Caine.
So we have a bunch of 70 and 80-year-olds playing
American teens.
Shakespearean trained guys who have fucking done Othello and have done Hamlet. I want them to be plopped into this scene, and I want to see what they can pull off with this dialogue.
Okay.
Patrick Stewart is the master.
No, he's the dolls.
Patrick Stewart's all the dolls.
Old dolls.
Muzzle tough.
It's a Seth MacFarlane film.
Yeah.
So the witch says, all right, everybody, we've got to hold hands because we have to create a bond and we have to recite a passage, the same sort of cliched kind of stuff you see in any sort of seance type of thing. And
Mark side eyes Kay a little bit when she says that. He seemed like a little upset because the whole Ian interaction. And I think, did at some point between the party and here, did they have a conversation about like how, or is this at the police station where they talk
police
about?
Station.
It's after. It's
Oh,
in
yeah,
my
sorry,
chunk.
never mind.
Yeah.
But anyways, it was like you could see he was still upset about the interaction at the party. And I'm bringing this up because I want to bring it up a lot to the point where it finally gets just completely dropped.
Sure.
so it's at this point that Frankenstein's monster and Erica, who's dressed up as a cheerleader, they leave. They're going to go have sex, essentially, and that's what's pretty much understood. Let me see. I've lost my place here. I wrote they leave to fuck. Read seance words from the book. So they start doing the seance. So they read all the silly words from the Necronomicon, and as they do it, shit starts happening. There's a storm halo thing that appears above the factory.
Mm-hmm.
Wind blows out the candles, and all
there
of a
was
sudden,
some digital, or there's some good digital effects on there.
Yeah, that wasn't bad.
That weird
That wasn't
storm was
bad.
nice.
Yeah, some like the thing above I liked, but like then there's like a cheesy lightning strike at some point. It's like
Yeah.
they couldn't just decide to like pick the lane. Like if you can't make it as good as this thing, then just don't do it, because there's an explosion later that is just laughably
part. Yeah,
bad.
that got a rewind for me to laugh at it. Even harder. So yeah, and then now we see one of the dolls. It wakes up, and now the seances worked. These dolls are waking up from their slumber of 30 odd years, and we get some more bad humor from the devil and the skeleton. They are still doing their crap, and the group says, "Well, I guess that's that. I guess that was weird. Anyway, let's go on with our night." And they get up to leave. As they get up to leave, they hear some. I don't want to say it's maniacal laughter. I think it was supposed to be sort of type of shit, but it sounds just like what I just did. And it's not at all, effective. Yeah, Joe's is more effective. And then we see a doll. We see the doll walking. The group sees the doll. And one of the characters, I don't know, I'm not sure which one.
The devil points it out.
Yeah, okay, so the devil says, "This place must have been a doll factory." And the devil, continuing to be the comedian of the group, they see a live motherfucking doll after doing a seance, and the devil's drunken first reaction is to pick it up and pretend to fuck it.
Oh, yeah.
That was a choice he made.
It doesn't even look good, though, because I was so confused by the perspective. He's just like holding it in front of his penis and like bouncing up and down, not like but thrusting.
Yeah.
It's so easy to just. I mean, I don't want to take credit for being good at thrusting into a doll, but it's just like he's like up and down and he just barely taps it. It's like, dude, it go in on this. If you're, it was almost like he was a little bit embarrassed. Like that was the line for him.
Probably. But I wasn't sure if he was supposed to be bumming it or getting it to suck his dick. That's what I was confused about.
I think it was. I think he. I didn't want to I'd have this conversation with you, but I'm pretty sure he was holding it by its belly, bent over.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah. And then at one point he yelled his pee-pee hurt, which I thought was fun.
Yeah, that was a good line. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, because the porcelain cut it.
He's fucking around with the doll, and then the doll speaks again. The doll says, "That wasn't very polite, mister," and he stabs the guy right in the fucking eyeball. Right away, we get some gore, some digital gore, and some real blood. And our first, I guess it would be our second kill of the movie, is the devil guy getting stabbed in the eyeball by the doll. This, of course, scares the gang, and they make a run for it. A couple of the dolls then pull this long barbed wire across the path, which trips the witch. She falls down.
Oh, it doesn't
the
just
skeleton
trip
guy
her.
stays behind. Well, no, we don't. We think he just trips her at this point. We haven't seen the reveal yet. He trips her. And the skeleton guy stays behind. Everyone else runs. And so here's one of the goofs. The witch says, is it bad? And the skeleton guy goes, well, it's not good. And then it's revealed that, of course, she's feet have been cut off by the barbed wire.
I was going to say, like, this movie's very loose with physics. It's almost like they're going for like an Acme kind of thing throughout it.
I don't know why that was so awkward, but it's not wrong.
I have Looney Tunes written down in my notes, so yeah.
Like, yeah, it's quite
because it's
Acme.
like barbed wire is not. It's not razor wire.
Right.
It's like 3 strands of wire coiled together. You would get cut pretty good, but you wouldn't just lose your feet.
There's also one doll on either side, so we have to assume that the tensile strength of these 2 dolls is strong enough, and that the speed of this witch is so
5
fast.
dolls.
Guys, it's a movie about killer dolls.
I'm aware.
No, let's beat this to death.
Those dolls got Pym particles.
Yes.
They're mass.
They're just as strong.
They're mass.
Also,
Yes, of course.
Can I ask, did their mouths move?
No.
When they're doing the
No, not
talking,
at
they
all.
don't move. So
No.
why did they use like a rubber doll for the talking bits?
And
the
it costs
porce-
money and effort.
And the porcelain doll for the normal plain shots.
I think I know what went on here. They made some good. Well, they made some hero dolls.
Yeah.
They were hard dolls, and I think they like tried to make a mold out of those and run it in like a foam so that it could articulate, and it destroyed like it doesn't have the same texture at all, so they look completely different whenever it cuts to a close up of them trying to move the doll's mouth.
And it just looks like they're just shaking the shit out
Yeah,
of it.
they
when
really
they're
should have
talking.
just. I mean, they do so many digital things to the dolls. They should have just done that to make their
digital
mouths
mouth.
move.
Well, I really liked
They make
how
them
every
blink
single
every
one
now
of
and
them
again.
looked exactly the same, so that way they didn't have to actually make separate dolls. They could just make the one 100 times.
Hold on a second, though. Ryan pointed out how it upset him that they didn't blink. Ryan, is this your whole anti-animation thing where you couldn't identify with the dolls because their eyes weren't real?
Well, no, I wasn't going to identify with something that's not human anyway, even if they gave it a human voice. No, I said they
even if
did
it's
You
make
like
it.
a
identify with Joe all the
jellyfish.
time.
I'm human.
Well, that's just me trying for good karma. I'm trying. I've picked out one person in the world that I'm trying to understand that doesn't deserve my attention, and that's Joe.
I am not an animal,
But no,
goddammit.
what I'm saying is they did blink. They blinked and they winked every now and again. So they did do that. They just didn't, do the mouth, though. I guess would have been the extra work and money and stuff. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Way too much money for the doll factory.
So where are we at? Okay, yeah. So we find out the witch's feet have been cut off, and then we see like the point of view of one of the dolls running at the skeleton, gets close to him. He yells. Then we do a hard cut outside where Mark and Kay are going to leave. Mark says, we need to go back in and help our friends, even though they just ran out as they saw a friend get hurt. He's like, no, we got to go back in. They're killing our friends. Kay says, fuck that. We got to go to the cops and get help. Then a doll runs out. Mark gives it a kick. He agrees. They jump in the car and head.
That was a good
And
bit.
what happens to the doll, Ryan?
Yeah, say it, Ryan.
What?
When Mark kicks the doll, what happens?
I don't know.
It says something. What does the doll say when it gets kicked?
Oh, I don't know what he said. I didn't write down.
Nick?
I did. Yeah, I didn't even catch it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so at this point, you've got a clear picture of what the cinematography is going to be like in this film. It's a lot of it's either on a tripod or it's a handheld over the shoulder shot, and Zach, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Cinematographer, but it's a very flat looking scene, and it's like a TV movie. Everything's well lit, but it's too well lit. It's awkwardly lit.
I did appreciate that, like they had decent cameras for this. I mean, that made it somewhat watchable.
It's probably shot in 4 or 6K or something.
It's all set up so that like you could tell that we had to do this all the time where it's like, let's set up so we can get as many shots as possible, but like they clearly set up a lot of it very like theater-like. So it's like you're going to be on this side of the room, the lights are going to be over here, and we're not going to move those for anything. We'll make the cameras work with that.
Well,
and that's it.
We get a lot of momentum out of this doll factory, and there's this one shot of a high up shot that's aimed down at the 2 front doors, and it's like every time you're coming in or out of that place, it's like the same fucking shot. It's like they set up a tripod and left it there for 2 weeks, and they just kept putting the camera up there.
Yeah. Well, no, they just had all the actors like change clothes. Okay, now you run through the door. Now run back through the door. Now run in.
I mean, they
run
might
out.
have. They really might have.
I don't know.
They get in the car and split. we go back into the doll factory. We never see, at least that I didn't catch, we didn't see what happens to Skeleton. I don't know what he's dead, but I don't think recall we see.
Not important.
We forgot about him. The filmmakers forgot about him.
Yeah, did he just disappear?
The actor forgot about him in the middle of the scene.
Oh, I didn't realize.
But we do see the witch. She's trying to crawl away with her stubs now, bleeding, and the doll's taunting her, talking about saying stuff like, "Oh, we got off on the wrong foot." She cusses at the doll. The doll says, "Don't use such bad language." It's that sort of stuff, that sort of humor. The doll says something that's going to kind of continue our plot a little, or our story, I should say, a little farther along. The doll says it doesn't think that the master will like her. And she pauses and says, "The master?" So we're like, okay, so there's a master.
Also,
and it's all going to come back.
I think the actress forgot that her legs are supposed to be cut off because she delivers it like very matter of fact and not in pain.
Well, I think
that was
that's
on
the
purpose.
joke.
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
Stop killing comedy, boy!
No!
It was like
Thank
when
you.
the skeleton guy points out that her legs don't look good. Well, it's not good. I think it's that. I think they were going for that, like everything stops in its tracks. We say something that doesn't fit the scene, and that's funny, but it didn't land. I mean, you're right. It wasn't funny. It was just
this movie's like a cartoon, really, is what it is.
Yeah,
It's like
I think that's why I like it so much.
It's the jokes, and nobody's acting like a human being, at any real point in time.
That's great. Like,
So that's kind of the comedy. She's a master, and then no sooner does she say that, she's lifted off the ground and hung by some more of that barbed wire that had cut off her feet, presumably being hung up by more of these incredibly strong dolls. And this kills her. It chops off her head at the mouth because it wraps around her mouth and chops her head from the mouth up, and we get a kind of cool looking practical effect of the top of her head flopped open.
Yeah.
But then it cuts immediately to this really bad CG blood that's just pouring out of the stumps as she hangs from her noose. And I thought, it was such a juxtaposition.
What's weird is that she's not hung by the neck. She's supposed to be hung by the mouth and rip her head in half. But her body's still suspended somehow, even though the top half has been severed in the shot that we see here. Then we see her feet. It doesn't... It hurts. It hurts my brain, and I don't get it.
Stop trying.
It's so
funny.
It doesn't make any sense.
Well, also,
Is it?
Yes.
While the barbed wire is like in her, wrapped around her mouth, and blood is pouring out of her mouth, she's still somehow screaming.
Well, her tongue is there flailing.
But how can you get a sound out of your mouth when your mouth is literally like a geyser of blood?
Oh, you could probably do that. You could go like...
I think it would be like...
Can we try it with Joe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tyler, hit the button for yourself.
Oh, for me?
Yeah.
What did I goof up?
Y'all are thinking too much. This is a goofy cartoon
I'm
movie.
just trying to say I don't think you can... fine.
Stop killing comedy, boy!
Yay! That's all. Thank you. This is a goof 'em up movie.
You should have defended the Demon's Rook as much as you're defending this one.
Hey, if I liked the Demon's Rook as much as I like this movie, I would have.
Okay, so I'm almost done here. Mark, and now we cut to Mark and Kay, and they pull up to the police department. And there's an interesting little thing here that happens, and I could be completely wrong, but the license plate when they pull up to the police office, police station, it moves a little bit. So looks to me like it was a replaced driver's or license plate, and it says DM or DWM Productions, which I believe is the makeup effects production company of the movie.
They do that with another one later on.
You're absolutely right.
They do it with another one later on to make it say penis.
Oh, Pen 15?
Pen 15, yeah.
I didn't catch that was
I was
replaced. I did think it was weird that I didn't look into it, but I saw it said PROD. Figured production, something production. What is that? That's weird. But,
I mean, they probably just didn't want like avid fans of the doll factory to track them down on the road.
Well, that could be it.
Yeah, it could have been one of their cars, and like, well, we want to, we don't want anyone to see our real.
This felt like a film where somebody that was in the core production team, this was like their third film after like graphic design or digital effects school or something, because it's like it gets used more than it needs to, and sometimes it looks great, sometimes it looks okay, and sometimes it doesn't look good at all. And so it just felt like, did we need as much of this as we... Case in point, the sword at the end. Like, it's like that was completely unnecessary, surprising.
Yeah.
Overstays its welcome a bit because when you get close to it, you start seeing the seams.
Yeah.
And so it was like somebody wanted to show that off.
Well, somebody just wanted to make a Star Wars film, but you had to make the doll factory instead.
I thought it was more like Scott Pilgrim than Star Wars, but it's like, it was like,
Well, sure.
what the fuck? Why is this happening all of a sudden?
Did Gareth Edwards get kicked off this film too?
Yes.
Well, as the movie progresses, it's you almost forget it was initially a killer doll movie. It says it because you've got the zombie guy at the end, and you got lightsabers and magic, and I'm not saying I didn't enjoy all that, but I'm saying it really takes a total turn from what I initially thought this movie was going to be, which is just a Puppet Master knockoff. But all right, so Mark and Kay, they show up at the police department. And Kay's like, I want to call Erica, which is the cheerleader who ran off with Frankenstein's monster. I want to call her and warn her, tell her to lock her doors, that shit went down because they left, before all the violence happened. And he calls her, Kay calls Erica. We see that Erica's in the middle of some doggy style sex with the Frankenstein's monster, and so she can't answer
Nothing
her
wrong with a little Halloween tree.
I mean, yeah.
Can't
Sure.
or won't. She's a coward, is what she is.
And so Kay leaves her voicemail saying, hey, there's some shit going down. Lock your doors, blah, 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 blah. Then her phone is almost out of power, makes that little noise. She says it's almost out of power. Let's go. She gets out of the car. Mark, thinking about Ian, thinking about the ex-boyfriend, thinking about everything that went down, gets on her phone real quick, checks out her text messages, and sees that was the text message supposed to be sent from Kay to Ian? That's one thing I was confused about.
Yeah,
was
Green
a text
means sent
message
from the phone.
Ian?
No, she got a message from Ian, right? It
It's
was said
from
something
Ian?
that
I'm not
said
sure.
something that
I
was
think it was-
like, I'll see
I
you
think it
later,
was from
baby.
Ian.
Okay.
It said you can't resist this for long or something.
Yeah, I wrote down.
You can't resist me forever.
Yes, you can't. And there's a little wink. So,
I think that's Ian.
and so Mark
the
sees
way
that.
the little,
Obviously,
like-
he's upset by it, and he gets out of the car to go into the police department. And that's my bit.
The audacity of a human being to be like, we're being chased by killer dolls. I do got to check these texts, though. Like, come on, guy.
on,
time is of the essence.
I could buy that as a high school kid thing. In the midst of the apocalypse,
Sure.
you still care about the girl that you want. But also, sorry, I was taking a leak. When Mark pulls up the phone, you see a screen that has a list of names for text messages. We see the mix, and then we see Ian there. Mark then taps the phone 3 times, and then we see the text message. So there was too many taps. That's just a pet peeve.
No, he tapped it to open it. He accidentally tapped it to close it, and he had to tap it to open it again. It was that obvious.
He just accidentally sent a pic of his thigh,
and it was the joke, and that's why you get the button again.
God fucking.
Stop killing comedy, boy!
We cut into the police station and see a grown man playing with cars. And he says, all you bitches freeze. I'm Deputy Donnie Harris, and I'm about to lay down the law. And he's acting just like a little kid.
He's like acting like Chris Farley when he's doing that pitch.
Yes,
Where
exactly.
he's smashing the car into the lighter.
Yep. And the kids come in, and he quickly tries to hide him, put him away. And they're talking. They're trying to warn him about, or not warn him, but just tell him like, "Hey, we need help. We were at this factory. Some crazy shit's happening." And then the door swings open, like a big reveal of our sheriff. But time has not been kind to our sheriff.
He looks
He
like
has
Balin from
3
Hobbit.
gray strands in his beard now.
No, it looks like a spider,
Yeah.
like resting over his beard.
He's got those Dimwos tentacles coming out of his mouth.
Well, it was almost like he went in for like a beard trim at some point, and like the hairstylist stuck a bunch of those like things in his beard, like those round things, and then just forgot to take them out for 5 years.
Are you trying to say curlers?
I guess, yeah.
I guess.
I don't know what they're
care.
called,
You
but
know
whatever
that
they
men
are.
don't go to the get their hair cut and put curlers in their beard.
Well, maybe this guy did this time.
Get a little pampered, Joe.
Maybe he's trying something new. That's not the craziest thing Joe said. I get it. He looks like the third wizard from Lord of the Rings. What's his name? Radagast the Brown.
Yeah, he's got some shit in the beard.
It looks like him. He gets very upset when they say that they were at the factory.
The factory.
The factory. What? is essentially this whole character.
He's
great.
breathing through a burrito he just swallowed off camera.
Yeah, he ate it whole like a duck. And I just wrote down that at this point I wanted more of these goofy cops.
Yes.
Not as much as I got, but that's
Especially the deputy.
Yes, I wanted more of him mainly, because he's just like a big old dummy, and that's great. I like how she then later says, I think this is when they're back in the car. Did you notice how weird he was when we brought up the factory? Like, yeah, he screamed at you and like warned, like tried to not get you. Like
he kicked you out
get
for
out of
even
town?
saying it.
Oh yeah, get out of town. Well, we live here. Oh,
and there's a delicious bit of ADR. After Mark and the sheriff have a back and forth that gets heated, like Kay's like pushing Mark out the door, and he stops, grabs some candy corn, and I don't even remember what he says, but it's like his back's to the camera, and it's like they're trying to cram in about 4 or 5 sentences.
Yeah, I can't remember what he says.
Hey, candy corn. You should eat candy corn. Throw in the garbage, candy corn.
Fuck this candy corn.
It is. It's just like a bunch of lines really, really fast.
Yeah. So they go back in the car and they fight over this Ian text. He brings this up. Oh, I see her texting Ian again. She gets upset about that. Blah, blah, blah. Nothing happened. Excuse me. They decide eventually that, and the whole time he's like, we're wasting time. We're wasting time. Every second that we waste, another one of our friends dies. There's another friend. Another friend just died. I thought that was funny.
They have a lot of friends.
Yeah, no kidding. They decide to go to her house. They say, hey, or she says something like, let's go try to use my brother's computer.
There's only one computer in this town, and Melvin owns it.
Right, like it's 2014. Well, they didn't have a laptop. Like these are
I thought, well, can't they research with a smartphone? Why do they specifically need Melvin's computer?
Raw processing power
so
to hack.
So we can look at boobs.
Yeah, so we can look at all kinds of boobs.
As the audience, we get that.
Yeah.
I think that's about it.
Yeah. So then we cut back to the titular doll factory, and the master, who we still don't see, we just hear his voice off screen, orders the dolls to. He says, "Go into town and collect more souls or something."
Lots of them.
Lots of souls.
So they do that.
Yep, and then we made Butcher the Bakers 2 years after it and stole it.
I need souls.
At least we showed them. We showed the souls.
Yeah, our souls were orange too.
We had the balls to do it, Steven.
The end of this movie is exactly the end of Butcher the Bakers 2.
I thought the exact same thing.
Whoops.
So I was like, hey.
Lisa did Danny's line in Butcher the Bakers when we were watching. What was it?
Yeah.
God, our movie is terrible.
Yeah.
Hey, we had a great time.
It's better than the shot, but not in the film, green screen of Dave Roden in the sky talking back to her.
You guys did that?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I don't think I've seen. I gotta see that. I gotta see that footage someday.
It's Dave shirtless. It was in my living room. He's just on his knees behind a very small green screen. And it wasn't so much that it didn't work or that it wouldn't have been funny. It was just like it didn't look good enough. It like because I'm still not great with green screen, getting the light right and all that. And so it was like and trying to track it in the shot. I still wasn't good at that at the time.
Roden cut.
Yes.
Hashtag
Release the Roden
make
cut.
it happen.
Yeah, get on
viewers
that
at
dark
home.
cuts.
Yeah.
We'll do a re-release. Then we see Ian and his cronies. They're driving around in their SUV. Ian is high, drunk. He's inebriated somehow.
Well, he's drinking and driving.
He's drinking and driving,
which upsets one of his goon guys.
Yeah, he's like, hey,
well,
you should take it easy.
You can always call them the Goonies.
Look at that.
God damn it.
Do the truffle shuffle.
You know, I never imagined that I'd be on the same side as Joe in one of these episodes, but I guess I am. Me, Nick, and Joe.
He did it.
Stop killing comedy, boy!
I know it's for all.
The fans are gonna hate that.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
it's just copyright infringement.
Too bad. Oh, I don't know. Maybe. They hit something. We all can figure out what it is. And they pull over and decide to go check it out. At this point, one of them decides they have to go take a piss.
Out of his wiener.
As you do.
His pee-pee. He goes off the side of the road, and I think my favorite part of this movie is when he's taking a leak, and you hear the pitter-patter of little doll feet run up to him, and you hear tink. And Mazel Tov. And he looks around like, oh, that feels weird. And you look down and his dick is on the ground, severed. I mean, that's all it is. It's just, that's very funny to me.
Like, so that was a defining moment in the movie for me.
Yes.
It really was, because that's when I was enjoying it up to that point, and then I'm like, this could really be something.
Yeah.
And I spoiler alert, it wasn't as good as I wanted to be. About the middle point, things start to slow down. But if from that point on, it kept escalating to gremlin level dolls in the city, this thing fucking Academy Awards. Like, sound design, I don't care. Give it something. I just wish it had kept going there, because once you cut a pee-pee off and you say Mazel Tov,
it's everything.
Thinking about it.
It's everything. All like, it's the whole. You can't remove one element of that and make it work as it's the time. It's
This
the
is a
him.
Jenga tower.
It's him drunk off his ass trying to take a leak on the side of the road at night. It's the pitter patter of little feet and the perfect slice sound and the Mazel Tov and the him not realizing it. Like, it's all just is perfect.
Yeah. That's the peak
That
of
might be
film.
my favorite thing in this whole movie. Is just that little 10 seconds.
because when he looks down,
Wonderful.
eventually it's just blood gushing.
Oh yeah.
When he says like that's not right or that's
That
not
felt
cool
weird
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They jump the other guy too, the other crony. He's wearing like this rainbow poncho thing.
Well, yeah, it looks like it came straight out of like a community college production of Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Yes.
It's it's really thin material, but it's all the colors.
Well, I
and-
think he's doing what's the
it's like a poncho.
It's a poncho and like a Mexican style hat.
Oh, right.
Whatever
Sombrero?
that hat's called.
Yeah.
Sombrero. Thank you, Jesus Christ. But anyways, he doesn't just get taken down. He runs away. He's taken down by the dolls, and then you get a shot of him looking over his shoulder while he's on the ground, expecting there to be a horde of dolls. No, there's just one on each calf.
Just hanging
That's
out.
right.
Again, it's the mass. These dolls
Yes,
weigh
pin
tons.
particles.
Yeah, maybe it was like a doll/steel girder factory, and they combined their resources or something.
Sure. Yeah, they made it out of dark
Ooh,
matter.
that was a close one, Joe. I almost killed you with comedy.
No, I think that was a joke.
Kill him with kindness.
I almost what's Darius? It's Darius what?
Grumly.
I almost grumbled you.
You grumly.
Bougay.
I hate whenever somebody grumbles on my chest.
Well, let's get it out of the way. Bougay.
Yeah.
Boogay.
That's the actor's name.
I know. Boogay.
That's not his actual name,
It
right?
can't be.
Well, I assume he's
Name
a
on
comedian.
IMDb.
So Darius, it comes back, who was the guy who reads the book at the beginning of the movie in the 70s. He comes back as an old man, and the actor who plays him is credited on IMDb as Boo Gay,
Yeah. What else you need?
which I love. Boo Gay.
Yeah, maybe he's French.
I laughed. Can't get you.
He's got itchy trigger finger. Look out. Dick is chopped off. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, also when Sombrero guy gets killed, there's another Wilhelm scream.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Ian finally they like jump on his chest and stab him or something. We don't really see what
Well, they
happens.
chop
they
off
cut
his
his
hand
hand off.
first.
Oh, they cut his hand off, and then
oof.
it's the shot of from inside the car, and he like backs up.
Now, in Demon's Rook, I praised a severed arm as one of the best I've ever seen. This is the exact opposite of that.
I
they
thought of
weren't
Nick
going
immediately
for,
when I saw that shot.
yeah, weren't going for points there, I guess.
I wish the prosthetic that was on his forearm and covering his hand was actually like 3 feet long. So it's like
Wasn't it?
ridiculously long, and he's just swinging it around,
close.
spraying blood up on the trees.
And then the dolls go into the car, and they drive it. I assume like how the toys do in Toy Story 2.
Yeah.
One on the pedal.
One on each pedal. One's like on the dash looking out, and then like one or two on the steering wheel trying to.
They're saying silly stuff.
Yeah.
Put on a seatbelt.
coordinating.
Put on no
Too
seatbelt.
much.
I don't know if you guys noticed it, but when the dolls got in the car, the shocks were completely crushed.
Well, yeah, all the mess.
Instant sinkhole.
Oh my god. And then we go back. We go to Kay's house, and we see her brother Melvin,
Yes.
Melvin.
who is a real piece of work.
He's a
Ryan,
real
give any thoughts on Melvin?
I tell you this. At this point of the movie, I was starting to get tired. I was starting to check out a little bit. I was getting annoyed. And then Melvin came in, and it kind of perked things up a little bit for me, especially that opening scene where it makes fun of, his video games. It makes fun of, he's a very stereotypical character, but there was something about him. I didn't like the voice he was using. But there was something about the character and the facial blasters joke that he's watching the porn, and
you can just say you were really excited boobs finally showed up in this movie.
I was, yeah.
You don't have to praise the character in a roundabout way to get to that.
I'm never going to shake a stick at seeing boobs, but even if there's demon boobs and there's 17 of them, and they're very leathery beef jerky style, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I don't care if you're a rotten demon nun. I'll get on you.
Party hat's a party hat, you know what I mean? But
God, covered in blueberries or otherwise.
I stand by Barbara. But I liked Melvin. I didn't hate Melvin. He grated on me a little bit later on in the movie, and then it came back. Like for me, Melvin as a character was peaks and valleys. Sometimes I really liked him, thought he was funny. Other times he was just kind of there, and the voice was grating. But then he might have another zinger, and I felt about Melvin the same way I feel about like Joe in a lot of ways. Sometimes he gets you a zinger, and I'm glad he's there. Other times I don't see the point.
Well, I tell you, I always deliver
I like
the
that
point.
right off the bat. They're making fun of video games and shit, and so I liked it.
I found it offensive.
Stop killing comedy, boy!
Melvin's actually a slur against nerds.
What?
Hit him again, Tyler.
Stop killing comedy, boy!
Yeah, Melvin.
You, Melvin.
No!
So they go to Kay and Melvin's home. Her brother is playing, it looked like Skyrim with a Wiimote and a nunchuck. He's wearing penguin PJs.
It looked like fun.
Reason. Like it looked like I would play that game. Sure. He's got his internet girlfriend on the horn on his little headset thing.
Can somebody explain to me? So Mark and Kay come in, and Mark is there's throughout the rest of the movie. There's back and forth between Melvin and Mark is this alpha male, and Melvin is not. And Mark likes to point that out. And when Melvin brings up his long distance girlfriend, he makes that very specific. Mark makes a comment of, is your girlfriend like serial rapist 69? And he's like looking at the screen like that's her username.
Yeah, it felt like it was like he just met her in this game. He never looked at her username or something like that because he felt like it seemed like he was like, no, that's not my girlfriend, but it was. That was a very
I was very confused by that
attempt at humor. Also,
Yeah.
how old is Melvin supposed to be?
That's a great question.
9. Yeah. Maybe 6.
I would say, 14 or 15. If
If Kay's a junior or senior, he's a freshman.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
Okay.
Because he can't drive.
But what he can do is hack.
He can hack anything. So they come to him to hack into the mainframe, essentially. They find, as we've discussed, I'm sure Tyler left it in, there is some X-rated material on his computer screen.
I've left that in, yeah.
Well, I figured.
Well, because Ryan would be upset if I didn't.
That's true.
Well, it's a big joke in the movie, and the fact that
it's not a big joke.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they go back to it like 3-4 times. They show it again, like in the credits. They show it again.
They flash back to them looking at the computer and horror.
So okay, so here's a side of Ryan I'm not familiar with, where when Ryan catches a pair of tits in a film, he's gonna stick through the credits to hope to find another pair.
Just in
No,
case.
it just happened to be. I mean, I'm fine with
Where's
that.
the anchor pair?
When it comes to these kind of movies, there's blood, boobs, and babes, and that's what we're looking for. These are monster movies, and there's a certain criteria. Roger Corman said it best. So
yeah, guys, guess what? When Ryan debuts his film at the end of the episode, it's just pornography.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
It's just a stack of Playboy. That's what he's presenting
Yeah,
for
but
his,
the October issue
for his,
Playboys.
his research project.
I'm looking forward to Ghost
It's a Playboy.
Boobs
I cut
by,
out the mouth.
Ryan
I
Ziegler.
stand behind it. Where the whole movie's just me on Zoom behind a Playboy. It's my mouth talking.
Yeah, that'd be pretty hot though.
Ryan, this tangent, you should make a YouTube channel where you rate Playboys from like 30 years ago.
You just read a Playboy
not?
cover to cover.
I can get you them.
Yeah, Joe's got a hookup apparently on old Playboys.
Yeah, old Playboys. I can get you them.
You
You
know,
found a stack out in the
Ryan's the
backyard.
one,
like
Ryan's
mine.
the one who informed us that you go to the recycling center and you.
Yeah, that was what
you
we
know
did back in the day.
when Grandpa hands down to his his son or his grandson something. In the Buckley family, it's just straight up hardcore pornography magazine
Those are
style.
heirlooms. There's heirlooms. Many a generation has busted a nut to these.
Your grandma was in this one.
Right. Sacred issue. I got this
The
Vietnam
letters
gun
to
and
the
this
editor in the background, Buckley's. Love issue number 17, Hef.
Christ.
Where are we?
How about a bush that starts above the belly button issue?
Oh, yeah.
Ryan's just still
Yeah,
going.
yeah, it's a cool issue of Harry Ladies.
Stop killing
That
comedy,
was a good
boy.
joke.
Doll Factory. We're still on Doll Factory.
So we're still watching Doll Factory, believe it or not. If you just tuned in, so
We're only about a half hour in.
Yeah. So, Kay threatens Melvin with telling mom and dad about his porn, unless, of course, he decides to hack in to the city
Keep going.
something or other city archives.
He was able to get to the key of the city.
Yeah, he
computer.
fingerprints the key to the
digital
city. He's like, all right, fine, I'll do it. And 10 seconds later, if that, 5 seconds later, he's in, apparently. He's the world's greatest hacker.
But I can't help but feel that all of this information was probably available at the town library.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen the
They didn't
quality
have
of
to
the
go through
police
this whole thing.
department. Like, we've seen the quality of this city's police department. I don't think that they're really hiding this information behind lock and key.
Yeah, no, this just seems like public information that
Yes.
anyone could go get.
I wouldn't
So-
question it if they had gone to the library and it's wide open at 9 p.m. And when they ask the librarian for the information, there's 3 folders right there that she just hands to him.
Well, then,
Yeah.
then she shushes them, and little dolls are like scampering through the books and pushing
You
them
see,
over.
we could do this. Steven, give us the rights to this. We'll make Doll Factory 2.
Can we backtrack just a little bit? Because
Why not?
before Melvin hacks the system,
Yes.
the K is using a search engine.
Yes.
Yeah, which is Ooga Boogle.
Yeah, perfect. Ooga Boogle.
And she's searching for doll factories in Goober County, Texas.
Yeah, I wrote that.
So there's a
very
lot
good.
to unpack in that one still frame.
I'm going to Ooga Boogle this.
Well, that's basically like saying you're going to Bing something.
Stop killing comedy, boy.
I refuse that. That was a good joke.
It doesn't even matter if it's a good joke. If there's a silence in
Yeah.
there and I hit that button, Joe, it kills.
Yep.
Perfect. Everybody's laughing. Everybody's having a great time.
Yeah, most people are having a good time, yeah.
See, that's funny. That's very good. Anyway, he hacks the mainframe instantly and finds info on Darius Grumley, our friend from the intro.
Isn't there a page about Yegor?
There
They
might
mentioned
be.
the old
like
Russian.
an
Oh, do
about
they also-
factory.
Because I remember there's a it was like a Photoshop image where it's
yes.
there's like paper texture and then just like regular type font on top of
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
They find out that Yegor was used to own this factory,
Russian
and then
guy.
they also find a little bit about Darius.
Okay.
In that same thing, and they find out like where he lives and how to go get him.
Jeez, this is a deep web where you can get a lot of information on
Yeah, I
people.
know.
Sounds dangerous.
Yeah, and then they I believe they're looking for weapons, or
Mark wants to take his sword, and that's
Yes.
a big moment.
yes, regardless of if they want weapons or he just sees the sword, like, oh, we should take this. It's some mythical sword that's been blessed by
From
a
the mall.
goddess. Yes, from that weird store that the Sleepy Hollow High sword is from, the Hot Topic sword.
Well, the issue is it's near mint, and if somebody touches it, it will degrade down to not mint.
Okay, sure.
That's the level right below mint.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
not
it's
mint.
not
There's
mint.
near mint and not mint.
I get it, man.
Stop killing comedy, boy.
Thank you. Melvin changes clothes and goes with them. And I believe that's where mine ends. Or does he see? Or he
sees a
sees
doll
the.
outside.
That's
He
in,
sees
that's
the
in my
doll.
part.
Yeah,
And
Melvin
then he
sees it.
shrieks,
Oh, okay.
and then he runs and falls over because
That's right.
He's a nerd.
Yeah,
You know, they
this
do.
is Joe's part, I believe.
Oh, because when he
begins with that.
he falls down backwards in the hallway, and I remember saying out loud, "Well, look at that, Sideshow Bob."
Pretty
Oh, he
much.
stepped on the rake again.
That's right.
All right, so they tiptoe to the kitchen, and then Melvin gets attacked from behind.
Joe, say that. Look at your microphone right now. Jesus Christ, Ryan, and Zach. Joe was slouched in the couch, and I turned to look at Joe, expecting to see the microphone like pushed away from his mouth. It's literally facing his forehead.
I may have sank into the couch a little bit. I'm not sure.
Do you want
Well, I would
to
like
sink
to- I would like
further
to
and I
hear
can push
something.
it down?
No, I'm okay here.
Okay.
Do you have
okay.
quicksand couches, or like why does Joe always sink so far?
I'm
He
a
just
big
gets-
boy. He's got small couches.
He gets real comfortable.
He's like
Joe
the
Buck-
dolls. He's got that mass.
Joe
Yeah.
Buckley is like a
He's a big
liquid. He
bottom.
will take the form of whatever container he is in.
Oh,
So they tiptoe to the kitchen, and Melvin gets attacked from behind. And then one of the dolls vomits green exorcist puke on the mark, so he drops it.
Oh, I thought didn't Kay get in her mouth or
Well,
something?
no, I'm gonna get that. Yeah.
Oh, is that a
That's-
separate time?
yeah, it's
Oh,
next.
sorry,
so
sorry.
then Kay picks one up, and a torrent of green diarrhea shoots out of the
Yes, from the
Yes.
butt.
and then some gets in their mouth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And
then,
did you laugh at that?
No.
You didn't laugh once?
No, I didn't.
A
I
doll
can't think of a time.
A
no.
doll shitting in a woman's mouth.
No, I just didn't think it was well
That
done.
seems like
You didn't think it was well done?
If you were watching,
Maybe if I was with a group of people,
Joe
I
wanted
was
to see
alone.
the puckering porcelain anus.
Yeah, yeah.
if you were watching like an art film of someone artfully, slowly shitting into a woman's mouth, you would love it.
Well, yeah, because it would have been written well, and the acting would have been good, and the dialogue
this-
would have been cool.
if this happened in Eraserhead, we would never hear the end of it.
Yes.
People need to see more shitting diarrhea in mouths. God damn it.
If
You
you think
haven't
you've
even seen a film.
on your fucking telephone, get real.
What?
That's David Lynch quote.
Killing comedy,
No,
boy.
that's a funny David Lynch quote.
My sip is running out. God damn it.
So, Mark stabs one and throws the other in the fastest heating oven that has ever been invented.
Yes.
It's an incinerator.
Yeah. And then the stab...
Well, this whole thing is a play on Gremlins. It's identical
yeah,
to what
I
happened in
mentioned
Gremlins.
that, yeah.
But they
There's a
couldn't throw it in the
one gets
microwave.
stabbed, one's put in the blender, one's put in the stove, and Gremlins is a microwave. But
Yeah.
I
So,
think that had to have been. I assume it was intentional. The
Yeah.
identical kills to Gremlins.
So the stab doll says that they'll burn in hell, so you know what Mark does? He sticks it in the blender and hits the Gremlins button. Oh, yeah, I wrote that down. That's a little piece of comedy I wrote down.
Does he
All right,
get
still
the
joke.
button, guys? Or
No.
all right.
I get it.
like
No,
it.
that's premeditated. Hey, that's effort.
So then
That's a good goof.
The oven doll jumps out and Kay hits it with a frying pan that was full of dog bones whenever we saw it before.
yeah. What's the joke
No,
there?
yes, he's right.
Why
I
are
was
there
gonna-
dog bones in
Really?
the
I was gonna
like
pick this
on the
up.
stove?
I wasn't sure if this was a Halloween decoration or if this was a goof, but on the stove there are like 4 rubber dog bones
Yeah.
They're
sitting
just
in
cooking
a
them
pan.
for the dog.
So I don't know if that was part of the
All
Halloween
right, all
decoration.
right.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
Melvin
That's
ate the
weird.
roast right off the bone.
That's right.
Right from the bone.
Malt beer.
He gets hungry after playing games.
Now what
And they
happens, Jeff?
call it a mine. A mine.
Look at us. Look at us. Look how loud we are. I'm
Legendary
sorry.
hospitality.
That's right.
Nobody tosses a dwarf.
That's
Joe
love it.
figured it out. Joe
I
figured it out.
know of it. I know of it.
I'm not going to
Lord,
button you.
Yeah, I that's more than I thought you knew about. Lord of the
Well,
Rings.
I noticed it in the moment during Demon's Rook. And Joe, I'll give you credit because you didn't chime in even though you had no idea what was happening. But when we were doing all of the Batman v Superman
Oh, I've
jokes
never even seen that movie.
on Demon's Rook, Joe was awfully quiet.
Yeah, I've never seen it. No desire
No, and I
to.
appreciate
that's
that.
fine. Hey,
Yeah.
I appreciate that you didn't just start screaming, Doodle Dee!
American Werewolf in London. American Werewolf in London.
I can't carry you the ring, Sam, but I can carry you.
Stop killing comedy,
No,
boy.
that was a joke
You're
as well.
close. You're so close.
Almost had it.
So the police stop by the doll factory and explain that like the old Russian who owned it killed all his staff in the town, kind of buried it.
There is another funny license plate. It's the sheriff's car. It's Dough Nut.
Yeah.
Like it's
Oh,
Dough
boy.
Great.
Man, I gotta start
Common.
looking at the license plates in these movies.
It's funny that they reference cops eating donuts, but at one point one's just eating a bagel, which it's just
Like
get a
you
donut.
could-
Just get a donut.
Hold on a
Well,
second. That
bagels
takes-
look like donuts on camera.
That takes me back to a great line. Just a great character moment between the deputy and the sheriff after Mark and Kay leave the police station, and the sheriff is just like he points out the deputy like what's going on with how much sugar have you had today? Like because he's like pounding the candy corn. And he's like just the candy corn. And he's like, well, what about those sugar cherries?
Yeah.
I think the joke was that the young deputy had diabetes.
Yeah.
I think that was the joke.
He was trying to commit
Oh,
suicide
I
with
thought
sugar.
it was just he was too excitable. Like he's too
no,
hopped up on
I thought
sugar.
he was concerned about his blood sugar and that
Well, I
he
think
had
the
to,
sheriff should be worried about
he
his
was
blood
worried
sugar.
about his insulin, and I thought that he was really concerned for him.
But I had a question for the group. Joe had brought up that we were. What did you just say, Joe, on your timeline?
The Russian killed his staff.
Yes, he killed his staff. What was the time period of this doll factory?
I don't think they ever say when
Didn't
the
they
Russian
say-
killed people.
Didn't they say when it was
the factory itself? I
open?
believe, according to the internet, it shut down in like 1957 or 58.
Okay.
Or he gets arrested or something. But of course, the movie begins in 1976, so I was confused about that as well.
They probably
Like-
bring
Well,
the dolls back
so
to life
when the
in
ghosts
70s.
show up, they're dressed up like newsies.
Yeah.
And so like I just assumed it was like the 1910s or 20s. But the thing that I can't figure out is why the fuck would Darius be the only person that knows how to read that book?
Well, it's like Latin. Who gives a fuck? Nobody reads it anymore.
He's just saying seaweed, so I don't fucking know. But like, at first I was like, okay, did he work at that factory? But no, the only reason he's at that factory is because the police told him he had to be there to read the book or he was going to go to jail for 50 years.
And how did they find out that he could read the book?
Yes.
It's not about like reading the words per se. It's more about like you gotta feel it. You gotta.
No one else could read it like he could read it. Is that what you're saying?
Well,
yeah.
and little do they know is that Darius just oogle-boogled it to learn how to read it.
All right. So the jock and the cheerleader just got done boning, right? And then he announces that he has to take a wiki dump.
Did you say wiki dump?
Wicked dump.
He's gotta go look it up.
I love Wiki Dump.
Oh, yeah, that's a good movie.
What is it? Wiki feet? It's like celebrity dumps.
Oh, yeah, the greatest poops that
It's
celebrities
somebody
ever
like Joe
took.
following celebrities around at airports and shit.
Yeah, just with a thermometer, making sure they're not sick.
Well, he
Let
goes
me
in.
see your dump, sir.
He goes in first to sabotage the toilet so it won't flush.
Yeah. I break the handle off it, and then I come back in with a little baggie.
Poor David Lynch is just trying to take a shit before his flight. And
Yeah.
here comes Joe.
Christ, is this kid again? He wants to see my dump.
Please, Mr. Lynch, can I have some of your coffee?
Will you let me take a deuce in peace, please?
Please, Mr. Lynch, will you make another film?
You're not allowed to see my shit until you've seen all my films.
I've seen most of the films, Mr. Lynch. Please, just stop painting and make another film.
Most of them means you only get some pee-pee.
Well, I'll take your pee-pee, sir. Thank
Whole
you.
enchilada, you gotta watch the straight story. Fuck.
I'll watch the street story eventually, Mr. Lynch, please.
What a disaster.
This is great. No, this is
Dump
fine.
factory. This is what happens.
So,
Anyway.
yeah. So, she like says, "Hey, I'm gonna get myself ready for round 2." Wink, 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 wink. And then she reaches for like a dildo, but drops it on the floor.
That's like on the floor. Is it on the floor? or
I
is
thought
it
she
in a
pulled it out of
drawer?
a drawer.
She
But
pulls
it
it out
falls
of the
on the
drawer
drawer.
It falls
and
on
drops
the floor,
it.
and then without washing it or something, she's just gonna stick
That's
it on
right.
up there.
Well, no, I think the joke was she said, "What are you trying to run away from me?"
Yeah.
Yeah. He
But
wants
then
to
it's like,
leave,
oh,
and then she says she's gonna get ready, and then he says, "Where's the teepee?" And she says, "What's
teepee?
teepee?
Like, do you not use toilet paper?
yeah.
What's
got-
teepee?"
Yeah, that was
That's character development. She's very dumb. She doesn't wipe.
But like,
Yeah.
you don't
Oof.
use it to the
gets in
extent
the
you don't know what it
shower.
is.
Nobody, and he should know at that point.
They have a bidet.
Yeah, I thought this was
Yeah.
gonna be a weird bidet joke for some reason. Like I thought he was gonna like get shot full of water and blow up like a balloon and explode.
That would make more sense than what happens to him.
Speaking of which, guys, Lisa got me a bidet for my birthday, and I
Hell
love
yeah.
it.
Hey.
Changes your
I
life.
heard.
It's
I heard.
beautiful.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
yeah,
guys.
yeah. You got a wet
God
ass.
bless. You really are top-notch gift.
A boy's first bidet is a
That's a beautiful thing.
It came with a book.
I'm hoping to get one myself soon. It's a
What
delight.
did you also get like that step stool that helps you shit better a couple years back?
Squatty
Oh,
Potty.
the Squatty Potty, yeah. I haven't used them together.
no,
There's
Tyler.
a
You are.
running theme though
Quick,
of gifting
we
you
are
things
gonna
that help
clean
you
Why
shit.
are all your
Yes.
gifts
Yeah.
poop related? Because I remember once you told me about dude wipes too. Like, didn't you get dude wipes as a gift once?
I'm past the dude wipes, guys. I'm past the dude wipes bidet
Go
all
back,
day.
Go back 12 years, and he was filling out a journal of his poops.
That was gifted to me.
They all were.
That was all right. I'm just gonna, to get this bit over with.
Stop killing comedy, boy!
One day you're just gonna get pressure washed.
I did hit it again.
Is there a Rain-X
Stop
option?
killing comedy, boy!
Yeah, there's also a mail order TP delivery service now. I just saw. I got an ad for, It's all like environment friendly. It's all cardboard.
It's a bag of leaves.
Biodegradable stuff. Well, it's
It's in somebody's yard clippings.
It just
Joe
goes
just shows up and
the
cleans
toilet
it
paper
for you.
itself, I believe, is just your standard stuff, but it's all in like there's no plastic involved at all.
So basically, she's gonna reach for a dildo, but instead the doll just crawls up her pussy, and then green blood comes out of their mouth.
And did you enjoy that, Joe?
Well, you didn't get to see it, so no.
God.
What did you want to see?
How much more do you want to see?
Oh, you could show some more. You could definitely show some more.
Why? I mean, doll factory is
not
not what
enough
you
for
go
you?
for.
No,
That's not enough for you.
No, it's covered.
The doll's little tiny feet kicking
It's
and
covered.
thrashing.
Absolutely not.
As
No.
it burrows
That might as well
into
be
her.
rated PG. That might as well be Land Before Time. The jock wipes off his mud butt and discovers that the cheerleader disintegrated in bed.
No, Joe. He's sitting there laughing at his own dumps.
Yeah.
He seemed like when he was amongst the group that he was just like probably the same age. Maybe these people are all in their early 20s and, you know, playing high school kids. But when I saw him like in his underwear, I was like, this guy is like 35.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but something about him aged very quickly.
It's because he's got a flabby dad bod, and he's supposed to be the
Yes.
star quarterback.
Yeah.
God, that he
And
comes
his
back.
underwear was inside out.
He comes back, and again we have another.
We get our second Aunt Beru.
Yes, another large family death. Of
Only
just
one more season.
home.
home. You can go that next season.
There's nothing left for me
It's
anymore.
a whole nother year.
So yeah, one of the dolls said that she had a real explosive orgasm, and then he jumps through his chest like Superman.
Yeah. These dolls have a really weird grab bag of abilities.
That's great. Who cares?
It's like
love
they
it.
usually,
Don't forget
gravity.
usually they're environmental, or the kills are dictated by the environment, or like some tool that's there.
Not
or-
this time.
Nope, just blast right through.
All right, my turn, Joe.
Yep. Oh yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
Oh, it's coming up to that. It's going to be coming up to that great explosion. But
Yes. So, 3 dolls are hanging around outside of a house. 2 of them pressuring the third doll to do it, since they all have already. Which they're insinuating this doll hasn't killed anybody. Which is weird because the 2 dolls that are putting pressure on this third doll are clean. The doll that's being pressured into killing someone is covered in blood.
Yeah.
Or red. He's tainted of some kind.
Well, he got into a cotton candy machine before they left.
He dropped.
I would have loved to have seen that.
got dropped to a bowl.
Dolls at a carnival.
Yeah.
So it runs across the street, pitter-patter, knocks on the door, and a drunk woman answers the door. There's a Halloween party going on in the background with a bunch of adults. And she thinks, she's like, well, where are the trick-or-treaters? And it's like, I'm down here. And she's like, oh, she's like startled and she thinks it's cute. Yeah, and then the doll says, well, I'm here to take your soul. And like the whole bit's supposed to be like, it's just, hey, I'm the nice doll. Can you just hand me your soul, please? And this lady's like, honey, my husband took that a long time ago.
yeah,
She gives the doll some candy, and the doll's very nervous and uncomfortable, and it's kind of like that, but wait, I need your soul, and she shuts the door. So it runs back across the street or wherever the other dolls are, and it's like really upset, like, I couldn't do it, I just couldn't do it. And then one of them's like, you know what, cheer up, I've got this. So it runs across the street, goes and knocks on the door, and then the woman answers it, and then you hear the little feet go beep, 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 and then you cut down to watching the doll run between her legs, and it's holding a bomb.
Like a cartoonish dynamite time bomb.
Yes,
It's got
Acme.
the fuse, the whole thing.
I love it.
And so all of a sudden you cut to an exterior of the house, and boom! It is a very clearly overlaid explosion. But the weird thing is that there's an explosion, and then as the smoke clears, the house is completely intact, except like the doors open and there's like a fake fire in there.
Yeah.
It was very bizarre. But then you cut to the 2 existing dolls, because I guess that one blew itself up. You see fire superimposed on their eyeballs, like it's like reflecting off their eyes, but they're looking in 2 completely different directions. One of them's looking at the ground, and it's like, okay, fine.
One must be looking at the door that blew off of the building, and the other one's actually looking at the building.
The other one's looking at the other one's eyes, and so the fire just keeps bouncing around.
Yeah, it's like an Ocarina of Time puzzle.
Yeah. Yeah, the Spirit Temple.
So meanwhile, across town, 2 stoners are hanging out. Chubby Tie-Dye, whose name in the movie in the credits is Andre. He's finishing up a story about how he got gonorrhea. And then Skinny Beanie, Freddie in the credits, asks them how they even got on the topic. And it's the classic, like, super high, slow talking, very confused voices. And Andre explains that the leading conversation was about his cat shitting in his shoes. And this, I mean, these guys are hilarious. They are funny. Their delivery is great.
It's a good scene.
And
I thought this was like some of the only funny dialogue in the movie.
And these guys could be Cheech and Chong. They could be the next incarnation
generation.
of them. Yeah. But Andre goes on to explain that his cat hacks up a hairball on the left shoe and she shits in the right shoe. And then, so at this point, I'm like, okay, Andre's on fire. He's got the gonorrhea. He's talking about the cat shitting. I'm like, Freddie, dude, you got to pick up the slack here. And he does. Because Freddie explains that he had a dachshund that used to shit all over the house. And then says, well, and then it made me shit all over the house. So for some reason, Freddie and his dog were just shitting all over the house.
Well, he's going to have to clean it up anyway. Might as well.
Yeah.
Why even go to the toilet?
Freddie's talking about how he's shitting all over his house. And then out of nowhere, Andre's like, you ever stick a squirrel in your ass? And then boom, the doll flies through the window, interrupting the scene before we can get the answer of whether or not Freddie has stuck a squirrel up his ass.
Maybe.
So Andre is pissed. Oh my gosh, do you know how many burgers I'm gonna have to flip to fix that window? And then, Freddie's like, hold on, calm down, man. I think this thing just wants to get high with us. Cut to the exterior of the house, and you hear I can't do the sound of a gurgling bong. We cut inside, and this doll, who we find out his name is Reggie, just the thickest, dopest cloud comes pouring out of its frozen mouth.
Smoke that green, baby.
Yeah, just like Jimmy Simpson in Stay Alive.
And then Andre continues with the great dialogue. Andre asks, and this is verbatim from the script, how do you piss? You don't got a genitalia. You a fucking doll. It's great. The doll gets upset. Oh, man, don't say something like, don't ask me about that. I just want to smoke. Goes back in. And Freddie asks the doll, asks why the doll is there, and it explains that I'm supposed to kill you guys. I need to take your souls to the master. And Andre and Freddie, for some reason, think that that's cool. They're cool with the doll. And the doll says this when he names himself. He's like, I'm Reggie, and I want to chill. What is he saying?
I'm the ultimate Vil who wants to chill.
No.
I don't remember why.
He just wants to hang out with them and get high.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want to be answering questions like this.
Yeah.
I'm just
trying to smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Pass me the bong.
we cut to the sheriff and the deputy at the warehouse for some reason. Yeah. I don't know why we didn't stay in this scene for another 20 minutes.
I know.
So, and this is where I'm going to point out, this is when the movie starts to slow down.
Yeah.
We're basically a little over halfway, like 45 minutes in, and there's another 35 minutes left. And it didn't have, the characters start to slim down, as does the action, as does the scope of the film. The scope just closes right back up to where it was at the beginning, and everything leads to the warehouse. And the warehouse just is not exciting. At least if there's not a bunch of teenagers getting their legs sliced off or their feet or whatever.
And the dolls become less of a presence.
Yes, they do. Yeah. They're almost completely abandoned once the master shows up. But anyways, we get to the sheriff and the deputy at the warehouse, and Deputy Dog's flashlight is dead. They agree that there isn't anything inside, and so they decide to leave. They get outside, and Deputy Dog points out, hey, look at over there. And the sheriff gets all upset, and he walks off camera, and there's a reporter doing a report about this warehouse and the dolls. News spreads fast. And so there's a reporter and a cameraman, and that's it. We see literally nothing else. We don't see a production van. Nope. It's like, it's the production value. The reporter looks fine. The cameraman looks fine. But it's like there just isn't enough to fill the world. And it just feels awkward and uncomfortable. And it's like they start to get into that, like, oh, we're doing a gag bit now. Nothing is moving forward. The plot's not moving forward other than, I guess, people know about the thing. But I'll get off my high horse. So the sheriff gets in the face of the reporter. He's all upset. He's trying to kick him out, but the reporter's tough as nails. She's not going anywhere. She's going to get this story, and she's all upset about how she hates doing stuff in this hick town, and she calls him Porky. And the cameraman points out how pissed she gets if she doesn't get her shot. So the sheriff calls her a bitch, and she starts beating him with her microphone, and he gets upset and walks away. So the reporter is, and this is like the gag is just going on too long. Like this, it just gets dragged out. The reporter's like all upset, and then Hicktown. Sheriff comes back in. And the one funny bit of this whole thing for me, you can tell he's waiting to do something. He's like both looking into the camera of the cameraman, like winking at the camera, like just can't wait to do his bit. And he keeps saying like, so you guys aren't going to leave, right? No, we're not going to leave. You're not going to get out of here. No, I just want to get this straight. Both of you are not going to finish what you're doing and leave. And she's like, no. I'm going to get my shot. And he's like, all right, well, it's within my authority since you're obstructing justice and blah, 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 blah. And then he just busts out a taser and goes, but it's like malfunctions or something. I don't know if it was supposed to like shoot her or if it just didn't work. But like you see some sparks and stuff. And she's like, what? You were going to tase me? And he's like, well, yeah, I was trying. And then all of a sudden, the dolls jump on, or a doll jumps on the reporter because its mass is so strong it just slams her into the earth and she goes straight to hell. Actually, I don't think we see her again after that. Nope. So it might be true. But then we get this ISO shot, this tight shot of the cameraman, and he just goes, "Oh shit! Oh shit!" It's just very awkward. And then he gets taken down. Camera hits the ground, cuts to static, cuts out. And we see a tiny doll flipping off the lens of the camera, and then it cuts to static again. Very funny. Okay, so Kay, Mark, and you see, like, nobody's laughing anymore. We don't got any more Star Wars bits. We got nothing left. Steven, you bummed it up.
Nick, what do you got?
I
love you.
I know.
Hey, Star Wars.
Stop killing comedy, boy!
Well, yeah, that's who's coming up next.
Boba
Yeah,
Fett.
a bunch of Boom Shadow.
Boba Fett.
Was that Joe?
That was my Chewbacca.
Chewie, your head? Where is it,
Oh,
Chewie?
I wasn't sure if that was Boba going into the Sarlacc pit. Yeah.
A little higher, just a little higher.
Wait, I thought you were blind.
Okay, I'm laughing again.
Yeah,
Hey,
I love blowing up Womp Ranch with a gun on my planet.
So Kay,
That's the line, yep.
Kay, Mark, and Melvin show up at Darius's house, who is in the middle of trying to take a fake Santa beard and hairpiece off. And I remember seeing, I was digging through the movie when Nick told me about it. And I didn't see this. I saw him just wearing that. And I was like, oh, shit. This movie, a bunch of high school kids did it. And it's like, you know what? Now that I know the context that there was, permanent glue on it, and he's trying to get it off, and he can't. It's like, who told me, or whose bad idea was it for me to dress up as Santa Claus? And it's funny. Bug eyes, the whole thing. He's being goofy.
I think he wasn't supposed. I don't think they knew how to age him up or anything because he didn't have the facial hair. I think they were like, look, we got to do something to make him look older. And then they were like, well, we don't have any money left in our budget.
Oh,
Let's
I
just
like the
do
idea
this.
that Boo
And it
Gay just
works.
showed up on set and said, I'm going with this. I don't care what you think. This is
I'll
my
handle this on my own. He showed up like that.
An actor's choice.
So Darius finally answers the door. He's inconvenienced. He ain't got no candy, as he likes to point out. And then for some reason he calls Kay a heifer. And then again, I have this written down. Oh, he says something about, I don't have any candy for you, bitch asses. And then his cat interrupts him twice. And he gets very upset. And he talks about putting it in the cat food bag and slamming it around and putting it in a blender or something. And then he turns back and he's like, I ain't got candy for your punk asses. He's like, I don't know if this was like they just used the line twice. It was very awkward, but he says it twice. And then Kay's like, well, doll factory. And he's like, oh, what? And he's like, all right, well, I guess you guys can come in. So they go in to the house where apparently Darius was watching one of the director's student films. Well,
Really?
it was just like a black and white thing of some girl running away with intense music. That was a bad joke. Hold on a second.
Stop killing comedy, boy!
My bad. Darius tells them to speak up because they're trying to explain him the situation. And he says, I don't have all day. And Mark says, night. He's like, what? Night. It's night out. You don't have all night. And then Darius says,
Stop killing comedy, boy!
in the best line of my life. I'm just going to fucking fly through this. Kay explains that they awaken the evil spirit at the doll factory, which upsets Darius. He doesn't want to relive that shit. He explains they have got to get rid of Yegor because they can't just get rid of the dolls, and they do that by reading passages from the book. Kay explains that they had the book, but they lost it, which upsets Darius again. He says Yegor wrote black magic shit in the book, yada, yada, yada. And then, for some reason out of nowhere, they go with another weird bit. Darius asks if anyone would like some purple juice. Mark says that he's good, and then Melvin says he would like a cup, and then Darius turns to him and says, how about a cup of shut the fuck up? I don't know why they set this up just for Darius to knock it back down, but we're laughing. I guess it was funny. Darius explains that they buried the book back in the day at that shithole, I think is what his terminology is. But Kay explains their friend found it in their mom's closet. How, why, I don't know. Is it set up for a sequel? As I claimed earlier, I don't know.
No.
So Kay asks, fuck you. Kay asks how Darius got involved with the situation in the 1970s, and he says it was to avoid prison because it was the only one, because he was the only one in the county who could read it. So apparently they couldn't drive 25 miles to grab somebody else and bring him into town to read it.
Well, that's not within the police budget.
They had to get
They have a budget. They have to stick with it.
Someone within Goober County.
Yeah, they need
Keep it within the county.
Yeah, Goober County official.
So they get Darius out of prison, and I guess they commute his sentence to come read this shit. And
That's got to be a hard sell for the prison, right? Like, because this small town doesn't have a whole lot of pull, I wouldn't think. And the sheriff showed up and was like, we need to let one of your criminals out because he's got the power to read the book to kill the haunted dolls. And then they were like, yeah, whatever, just take him. And like they just let him go.
Oh, at the next election after this incident, it was a big deal about the use of convicts in town. One person was very pro it, and the other one was very anti it.
Every time he needs anything done, he goes to the prison.
Well.
It did. Darius saved the day. But
And for it looks like for 30 years he's been an upstanding citizen. He hasn't gotten in trouble again.
True.
Yeah, and all of a sudden I got very lethargic.
This movie has that
blood
effect.
I get it.
Just sink into the chair with me, Tyler.
I'm not going to sink
You
into
had too
anything
much
with
candy
you.
corn.
I feel like I'm kind of sinking in the chair a little bit.
What happens when we're talking about Doll Factory?
Melvin points out that there's something on the news, and I'm done.
Yeah, so then the newscast starts, and it says, okay, so last we saw the newscast, they had all been basically killed. The camera was being flipped off, and it says like, oh, they're talking about this on the news. And it cuts to the newscast, and it's like, hey, breaking news. We're outside of the doll factory where there was reportedly a missing teen. It begs the question as to like why this is like on the news, but there's not any outside involvement other than them sending one woman there. And the teens haven't been missing for that long at this point. They have been quote unquote missing for like 2 hours. But then
Well, a teen can get into a lot of mischief in 2 hours.
that's true.
Better find
but you're
them.
not. I've watched
Or
a lot
teens.
of CSI and stuff, and every time you go to the cops and they haven't been missing for 48 hours, they turn you away. And
Shouldn't we presume that it's also like 4 a.m. when this is all going on?
right.
I
That's
mean,
like the prime Halloween
it's,
time.
I know about the 24-hour news cycle, but I mean, in Goober County,
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's where all the hard-hitting news breaks first, is in Goober County. But then he says, here's Amy with the still breaking story. We hear her die on screen, and that's when the dolls have finally showed up, apparently, because like right after the newscast, it's Brimley. What's it? He's like, you guys brought those bastards here? And then all of a sudden they're being attacked. Like, the house is under siege. You don't see them at this point. You just keep hearing noises. But the house is under attack. And there's more shitty dialogue, more stupid jokes. As they keep... Like, Grumley's not on the same side right now. Like, he doesn't want to go stop the dolls until they attacked him, right? Like, he's still hesitant. Right?
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry.
We
we
just
got,
wants to be left
we
alone.
got an ASMR thing going on
Tyler's
here.
doing an ASMR video right now.
Just eating food. Yeah.
Hear every chew,
Oh,
every
yeah.
sip of water.
You got macaroni and cheese.
Well, he was going to use a spoon, but then he's like, no, and he kicked it
Yeah,
off the
just using
floor.
his fingers.
And like it's very quiet. You can barely hear it, but it's very funny.
I legitimately, I got so bored doing my part. I thought I was going like into shock or something, or
You need a little juice, little sugar, something.
like
Just
a
num-nums.
diabetic shock or
I
something.
get it. I get it.
What are you eating? What you got there?
What you got there?
Yeah, what do you have?
It's a stew that I make. Ground turkey with lean ground turkey with like taco seasoning, corn, black beans, chopped up peppers, onion, mango salsa is the base, and then I put like some brown sugar.
That sounds great.
Yeah, that
It's
sounds
great.
delightful.
It's very low calorie too.
Joe, you should try some.
No, I think I'll be getting some mango slushy at the Taco Bell.
Anyway, Zach.
So
Where were
Grumpy
we?
finally decides to get out of there, and then there's the line. He's like, I'm so done with this shit. And then he starts to walk away. Mark makes another like off the cuff comment, and he's like, I'm sure they'll never catch you at this speed. And he just stops and he goes, my dick, your mouth, and then keeps walking. Like he does like the headbang and everything.
He does this really extreme, almost obscenely pantomiming of him filleting Mark.
Yeah,
And it's something else. It's something to see.
So then the nerdy boy starts having a panic attack, and then Darius shows back up with this gun that.
I wanted to get your take on this, Zach.
What the hell is this gun supposed to be? Well, he cocks the stock to load the gun, and it's got a suppressor on it that's like.
And what's funny is he's a felon.
That's true.
That's probably why
I
it looks
thought of
like a
that
cave.
immediately. I was
Maybe
like,
it's
wait a
supposed to
minute,
be
what's a felon
homemade.
doing with this shit?
Well, it's like how like Hagrid has to have like his wand and like his umbrella, so that way he can use magic.
You got your wand and your umbrella?
Hurry! Don't mention me while I'm next to Dumbledore.
Stop killing comedy, boy.
No post on Sundays.
No post.
So then he starts shooting the dolls outside, and they decide to leave. He has to go back inside for something. And then there's another
get a
joke
shirt,
that
right?
he's slow, which the fact that they mention how slow he is each time makes me assume that maybe he was going to get chased and easily caught or something, but that, spoilers, doesn't happen. And then he gives like this kind of heroic speech. He still doesn't seem all that into going until he's offered free prostitutes.
Oh, yeah.
And then
that's
it's like,
how you
oh,
convince
okay.
an old man
Then, yeah,
to
I'm
do
in.
something.
And then there's a part where Mark tries to call Melvin Dildo Baggins and flubs the line, but they clearly didn't have time for a second take, so he says like Diddle Baggins.
Diddle Baggins.
Hey, Diddle Baggins. And then they leave for the warehouse. They go back to the doll factory.
And if we haven't said it already, this movie's only 80 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's like when this movie drags, it really hits the floor.
Yeah, it does. And then so he's looking through like then they stop to like arm up and they check the back of the car. Melvin gets his trusty sword. Mark grabs I think this was supposed to be a joke. Mark grabs like a tennis racket, and then Kay is like, there's baseball bats in there. And he's like, I know, and gets a baseball bat and shuts it. I think it was supposed to be a joke. I don't know why this scene existed. They could have got out of the car without the weapon or with the weapons, and I think everyone would have bridged the gap.
Well, they just really wanted to do their Tarantino trunk shot.
That honestly could be it. That they just wanted to do that.
Is that in here?
Yeah, oh yeah.
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 So they get to the doll factory. They go inside, and there is the reunion for the sheriff and Darius Grumley, which is a sweet reunion. It's a sweet moment of like, oh, you old son of a bitch, you salty sea dog. It's good to see you, and they're like really happy to see one another.
In a county that might be only about 10,000 people deep.
Yeah. And then they decide to take on the dolls, and there's this like heroic moment. And I did laugh at like the part where they're like, the dolls say something along the lines of like, we're gonna kill you, and then they huddle up real quick. And he's like, hold on, huddle up. And then they turn around and they're like, hey, tell your master to go fuck himself. And then they get into the fight. The chunky cop sacrifices himself and goes out swinging. His head gets sawed off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure does.
And it looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
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 And he was the last soul, and that initiates the rise of Yegor.
Boy.
I wrote here without context. I just wrote the quote "old droopy nuts" because I'm sure that was a line that was said that I was like, wow,
yeah.
10 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm so droopy you can flick them.
Yeah, I was surprised that Yegor has impeccably white teeth.
Yes.
Yeah. He's all about that glisten.
I do like some of the back and forth between Yegor and Mark. Like, that's a pretty epic plan or epic scheme you got there. And Yegor's like, oh, that's cool. Maybe I won't kill you. And then it's like, yeah. So there's some funny bits in there
like
once Yegor
I
spawns.
did like him.
Yeah,
I like his shtick.
yeah, he's pretty
Yeah.
good. And
It's
he doesn't
all
look
right.
he doesn't look terrible.
We needed that little boost of comedy at this point. In the
Exactly.
movie.
Yeah.
Well, what really should have happened, it feels like, is that Yegor should have showed up at the end of the first act, and he has a job to do, his dolls have a job to do, and our friends have a job to do. It really just, we needed to get more going on. Like,
You're
'cause
talking
it's-
about Butcher the Bakers.
Yes.
You are describing Butcher the Bakers.
Souls. Lots of them.
Well,
What we need is some bakers, and then we need
got
2
the souls
ladies.
in the first act. I just think that because I do like Yegor, and I
Yeah.
would have liked to have seen more of him in a sense that wasn't just I'm here for funny exposition jokes, and to introduce myself and just to die 5 minutes later. I just think that it could have, again, I'm harping on this angle of at 45 minutes the scope closes up and everything just kind of drags a little bit harder. I think some of the best jokes are in this half of the movie. One of my favorite jokes of the whole movie is after the ghosts show up. Well, wait till we get there. But anyways, it's just like Yegor with some spice. It's just like, why couldn't we have had that spicy turkey chili at the beginning and I could still feel that rumble in my gut at the end?
Well, I know how they could have gotten rid of Jaeger. Like, they could have just tossed him in some Red Bull and drunk him down.
Hit him.
Stop
Also,
killing comedy, boy!
I looked into it, and I think this was the beginning of the end of the actor who played Yegor's career. Because the year before this, he was in Breaking Bad. He was in 6 episodes. And then the same year, he was in Sin City, A Dame to Kill For. And then this happened, and now he's been in other great movies like Divorce Texas Style, Acid Test, and Blood Corral. So I think that this was...
No, Blood Corral. That's a good one.
Is it?
No.
You get free
I
Blood
was just
Sundays in that
mocking
Blood
you.
Corral.
God, Joe.
So yeah, I mean mine ends at the summoning of Yegor, I believe, essentially, and a little bit of back and forth.
Yeah, let's bring this home. So Yegor, his whole thing is to
Really buddy up to that microphone. Nick.
Yeah. So Yegor's whole thing is to get a bunch of souls and become invincible and create hell on Earth. Pretty standard villain stuff, boilerplate.
Yeah, that's why ours was different and better.
Yep, we really changed things up.
Yep.
They haven't made a movie like that since.
Yep.
That's true.
So Yegor has the book, the demon summoning book or whatever it is, the MacGuffin, and we're trying to get it from him, but he can teleport, so he's gone. What are we gonna do here? He's just so then there's a little bit of a scuffle with the demon. The demon guy, Yegor, he sucks out Kay's soul gas. And we are left to believe that she is doomed and gone. I don't even have. People are shooting at Yegor. Bullets don't do anything to him. So I guess those souls are really paying off.
They're paying off dividends.
Yeah, and this is when Darius decides he's just gonna lay down and just die. He's just like, yeah, well, you can kill us. It's fine. I guess that was a better way to go out. But the nerd caricature doesn't want to die a virgin, so he pulls out his sword that we've heard so much about. At which point, Yegor generates a dick lightsaber.
Yeah. Uses the shorts.
And we get the quote, "Ew, demon semen," which
But
is
it's not.
again eerily close to dialogue that we've written.
Grace's room.
Demon without semen.
Except the context of ours was much better.
Yes, much better.
Because the context makes sense.
Does
That's
it?
not semen. It makes more sense than this.
Yeah, no, to get the full effect, he kind of mimes jerking off a little bit, and then the boner sword appears. So I
May the
guess
Schwartz be with you.
right.
Exactly.
So the fight.
They've jammed our satellite. What
Stop
color?
killing
Raspberry.
comedy, boy! Stop killing comedy, boy!
I'll let him do it.
Yeah,
Stop killing comedy,
it's
boy!
raspberry
Again,
jam.
Stop
again.
killing comedy, boy!
Never stop.
Stop killing comedy,
No, the joke is
boy!
that the jam is
Stop
raspberry.
killing comedy, boy!
No, you don't
Stop
understand the
killing
joke.
comedy, boy!
No, it's not
Stop
blueberry,
killing
it's raspberry.
comedy, boy!
If Joe can start doing all of the beeps, the sweeps, and the creeps right now, then I'll let him have it, and let him have the rest of the day off.
Yeah. Now you see, we got beep, sweet, crepes. Ooh, you.
Sure.
It was a decent attempt, Joe.
It's great.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I've seen the movie.
Good. I have more respect for you.
Oh, okay.
Do you like Spaceballs?
It was okay.
That's
Continue.
Well, at
Nick.
least you
That's not the
saw
right
it.
answer. So fighting continues, etc. The old man, he does get his hands on the book, and he starts to read it. And what's the nerd's character?
Melvin.
Yeah. So reading the book gives him powers also. So he has a laser sword. And a part of this incantation, it must have weakened Yegor because souls just start ejecting from his body. And then he's weak enough to where he gets his head cut off, and more souls just start spilling out. And then the dolls start to lose their souls as well. And
remember the dolls?
Yeah, remember
right.
those? They were there,
The doll movie.
not doing anything in this fight, in this climax.
Could have had cutaways to them killing people all over the
Even
city.
if they were just like sitting up in like the rafters eating popcorn watching this, I would have loved that.
cheering and
Yeah, that'd have been
everything.
funny.
That'd be
The doing color commentary over the fight.
What if they would have been like trying, like sawing through like little like rafter beams to try to get him to fall on Melvin?
Stop killing comedy, boy!
I reject your button. I reject your button fully.
That doesn't make it not exist.
It does in my mind.
But there's this.
Sure. Hey, that helps you.
I missed this before Melvin and Yegor start fighting, or Yegor. There's a shot of Yegor just standing there like licking his lips and being weird, and Melvin and Darius come up to him, and then Yegor turns really quickly, and we cut to an ISO of him, and it's completely different makeup that's not as well done, and I just love the idea that they just the next day the makeup guy didn't come back. They had to get somebody else to do it.
Well, no, he just had to sleep in his makeup because they knew that they only had makeup for one day.
Yeah,
And it melted. He took a shower in it because that's how it looks. It looks like it's wet and falling off of him. But sorry, Nick, I just noticed that because I'm watching the movie right now.
Well, that's fine because the movie's over. Because everyone's the dolls are gone. The Yegor is gone, and the Melvin's power dissipates. So he's back to normal.
Well, his new power is believing in himself.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, there you go.
But it's no time to celebrate because Kay is dead. So this
Her soul was sucked out of her body. Not that her physical form was killed.
She's just kind of like a husk.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure whether to make a joke about the end of Jedi or the end of when Voldemort's wand spews out everyone who was killed by it.
Yeah.
I get more of a Voldemort vibe, but we're on a Jedi kick. But a bunch of ghosts show up, and people we've seen, people I don't think
I
we
think
did.
it's only one person we've seen.
Yeah. It's
It's
the
so
sheriff.
confusing because, I get it. It's the sheriff and then a bunch of people who used to work in the factory.
Yeah.
Like, why couldn't we get all of the friends? It's like, I like the idea that there's people from the factory that are there too, because that's what the story is. The fabled story is that he killed all of his factory workers.
It's weird we don't see their friends.
We should have had a flashback scene where we see them back in the 30s getting killed.
1920s.
I think all the
Doll
ghosts,
Factory, Google County.
all the ghosts now have to haunt the buildings that they were killed in.
They were killed in the doll factory, the one building.
Yeah, they all live
Stop
there.
killing comedy, boy!
Oh no, that was a point.
And now it's called Ghost Factory.
But my favorite joke of the movie is that the ghosts come up, surround them because Mark's holding Kay on the ground, and there's one ghost in particular who talks to another ghost to tell him stuff about them, and the ghost who looks like a newsie or something like that is like, okay, and then he talks to the group and then acts annoyed, like why are you
really
fucking
weird dialogue out of those ghosts.
Yeah.
And then they disappear, and Kay is alive, and it's fine. And
Well, you know what they say: every kiss begins with K.
Dang.
Was that written down, Joe?
No, I just came up with that on the fly.
Okay.
Or you've just seen that commercial enough that it's ingrained in your brain.
No.
Yeah, so everyone's walking out of the factory, and they leave, and everyone's fine, and they say something or other like, hope we don't have to come back here. And then we
don't.
We sure don't. But we do cut to a single doll, and it gives us a little wink. A little wink at the audience.
And then we cut to an incredibly overly complicated credit sequence.
Yeah, which I skipped.
dubstep.
So if there's anything important here, I don't got it.
No.
Okay.
Apparently they show boobs again, and Ryan got hard.
Where?
Well, what's funny is the choices that they use. They're clips from the movie, just with a bunch of like animation
Filter
or something going on, a bunch of razzle dazzle. But they're just clips from the movie. So when they show the actor who played Melvin in the background, it's facial blasters again.
Oh yeah.
And then, but it's interesting is like the title card that they use for the guy and the girl that are having sex is them fucking. So it's like, wow, that's classy for your actors.
Well, I mean, you want to show the audience
Classic
the goods
choice.
again.
Wait a second. Hold on a second here. I'm oogle-boogling facial blasters, and Ryan owns the domain.
Oh my god!
I do, and COVID kind of took a bite out of everything, but
Yeah, you
we're
can't
still
shoot
standing
anymore.
strong.
We're still blasted strong.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Malevolent to benevolent. Since this was your choice, Nick, I'm going to go ahead and start with you. Malevolent to benevolent. What is Doll Factory?
I'm gonna give us. I mean, look, this movie ticked all the boxes that I need.
Need for what?
To live.
Yeah.
To get off. I don't know. I mean,
Well, I don't know about that one, but
It's all about that facial blaster.
Yeah, it had it all. It had little tiny dolls, and so I'm gonna. But it's a bit of a slog, and it's a bit cringy, and in good ways most of the time. Sometimes like, why? So I'm gonna go a middle, a soft benevolent on this one. I'm not going full hard benevolent, not by a long shot, but it kept me entertained, and I imagine if I were actually watching this with my good pals and not alone, I would have been laughing a lot more. And I think this would be a good time. You know, you get your friends together and you're watching Doll Factory. So soft benevolent. I'm gonna go with Trevor.
I'm gonna echo Nick on this. I loved this movie. It's not perfect. It's not my it's not my favorite, but when it hits harder than most other movies we've watched here. And this is the first one that we've watched that's tried to be funny, like it's tried to be like a horror comedy that I actually liked. The jokes are corny. There they are. There they are fucking during the credits. The jokes are corny, but I liked that. The dialogue is pretty bad, but for the most part, I felt like it still fit in the whole vibe, for lack of a better word, of the movie. It wasn't like Demon's Rook had very shitty lines, very cheesy dialogue, but was trying to, for the most part, take itself kind of seriously. This is not at all under any stretch of the imagination. And I really liked that. I didn't know that going in, that this was going to be a horror comedy, basically. But I was very relieved once I realized that. So I would say I am going to go benevolent with this. I would just say, without even a caveat, just benevolent. Not all the way to the end of benevolent, like 100%. But this is definitely middle of the road benevolent. If you have a group of friends that like corny, cheesy horror movies, I mean, this is a home run. This is another one where I really wish we'd watched it together. Just because it's goofy, it's corny, but I do see. I think we would have missed out on a lot of the little goofs if we did. But yeah, absolutely benevolent. Go check it out. It's super short, so even if you do get bored, it's not going to be for very long. I'm gonna say, Zach, what do you think of Doll Factory?
I can't, in good conscience, put it as a benevolent movie. Not that it's bad or that I even didn't enjoy it. It's just like there are some things that just stop me from putting it off that side. Like I would be like, I am on one side, I am on the malevolent side looking over. I see you guys over there on benevolent, and like I can wave at you. We're having a good time. Like we can have a conversation. We're socially distant, but like I just can't put it as a benevolent movie. It's just there's so many times where I'm like, okay, this scene's great, and then they decide to opt for one more like come and get it, naughty nipples. Like, they're so close to having like a fun scene, and then they have to throw in something just because they thought it sounded funny, And I think that I wish that we could somehow marry Demon's Rook with this one, because all the practical effects from Demon's Rook, if you had some of the humor from this movie in that one, instead of that one taking itself so seriously, you'd have, I think, just like a really, really great classic movie between the two of them. So, like I said, I'm Malevolent, but just like, I'm so close. I'm almost there, but just couldn't quite get into Benevolent territory.
Yeah,
Sorry, my cat was screaming at me. It sounded like a small child in the hallway.
Put him in the bag and then put him in the radiator.
I was going to go to you, Joe, but never mind. Ryan.
Okay, so I'm gonna say Benevolent, but it is definitely a very soft Benevolent. It's on the, like Nick, it's on the precipice to falling over into Malevolent. But the opening scene was fun. There's 20 minutes of embarrassingly bad, cringy shit that I wouldn't have got through if I wouldn't have had been doing this. But once I got over to the other side, we get to Melvin, and it just seems to ratchet up. The two scenes that pushed it over to Benevolent for me, though, were the Stoners. That scene, that entire chunk of them, I genuinely laughed at that, and I really enjoyed that. And the stuff with the ghost, the Force ghosts at the end, it was just weird. I didn't expect to see fucking Force ghosts at the end of Doll Factory, especially looking at the poster and the trailer. So those were the two scenes that made me think, okay, you've earned, the Benevolent. But it's ultimately, it's not something that I'm probably watch again. And it's not even something that I'm like, oh, I look forward to seeing what this filmmaker makes next. I'm not saying I wouldn't check out what he makes next if the trailer's good, but I didn't, unlike Demon's Rook, where I felt there was a vision of some sort. I felt like I was watching something made by artists. This, I felt like I was a bunch of college friends making a goof, and that's fine. But that didn't make me want to be like, yeah, I can't wait to see what these guys do next. So nevertheless, though, it is a very soft Benevolent for me. Joe?
I'm going just straight Malevolent. I thought the only decent thing in this movie was the cinematography. I didn't think it was funny at all. I didn't have a good time watching it. I was just kind of bored throughout most of it. So yeah, no, I'm just going hard Malevolent.
Can I switch sides? Can I hop the fence? I don't want to be the only person on Joe's side of this fence.
No, you said you
Send
wanted
it over, Joe. Send it over.
Yeah, okay, yep. Tyler can go.
I am firmly on the fence, right down the middle. On the Benevolent side, I've got a pinky toe touching. On the Malevolent side, I got a big toe touching. And the reason that I craved like Ryan lusted after
Barbara.
Butt blasters, or what was the titty
facial
Facial blasters.
Facial
So I thought you were gonna
blasters.
go back to Barbara.
I wanted it bad.
Blueberry blasters.
The acting of the group together, the script, it was so cringy. And it's like, I'm not saying that it's cringy for everybody, but for me, it was the cringe I crave. And I loved it. I liked hating Mark. I really liked hating him so much. But the problem is that once you start taking things out slowly, the dolls are killing people. Nothing new was getting introduced except for Yegor at the very end. So right after you get to that pot scene, it's like it really killed the momentum. I probably would have been a firm, maybe even a hard Benevolent, but because of that, it just kept. Basically, I was like all the way at the Benevolent end of the spectrum, and I slowly just started moving my way. But it was like I was in a roller coaster that the brakes let go, and I was just slowly careening
backwards.
And so Joe's sitting in the couch. You're just thinking,
There you go. Look at him. He's starting to do it again.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't help it.
So
It's a very floppy couch.
So yeah, I think right down the middle, I think is the best way to put it.
Stop killing comedy, boy!
but at least we get the soundbite. If
Yes.
nothing else, I'm glad that Doll Factory came into our lives because we have this beautiful soundbite.
I'm not glad.
Continue to grimly Joe.
Yeah, of course.
Oh boy.
So who's next up? Who's next week?
Facial Blasters himself.
Oh god.
Oh, you guys are in for a treat. You guys are in for a treat. I want you to be caffeinated when you sit down to watch this thing. I want you to have something that will help you get through it, because we're going back to 1983. We're going to 1983, the second horror film ever shot on video. and supposedly the first to be shot on video strictly for the home video market.
Okay.
That movie is Sledgehammer.
Sledgehammer.
What were your words?
Ghost and Revenge.
Okay.
Ghost
All right.
and Revenge.
I'm liking the poster.
This movie, I will just say that I've watched it 3 or 4 times now.
Oh,
and
boy.
it's quickly become a favorite of mine.
These are
For all the wrong reasons.
I'm forwarding some stills that Ryan sent.
It looks like a porno. I mean, shot on video, and it's like I said, its claim to fame is that it's the second horror film ever shot on video.
But not the first.
What is the first?
No, the first I think was something called Boarding House. I've really enjoyed this hunt so far.
Good. Everybody sounds so excited.
Great.
I feel very sleepy. I'm on a lot of medication for a tooth issue right now. These antibiotics are kicking my ass.
Well, Zach, you are after Ryan, so you've got a week, buddy, to get your movie together.
Oh, I know. I've got one that's a maybe, but I've got 2 I'm gonna watch this week. I'm just trying to find the right one, you know.
And Joe, how many have you watched so far?
Yeah, what you got, Joe?
I've looked at 2 trailers.
You've
Fuck
looked
off.
So I watched
at 2
2
trailers.
entire movies.
I looked at.
He
so
saw
I-
the thumbnails.
Yeah, I looked at them.
I have less time than you do, Joe. I have a job.
He's already watched the
and
whole movie.
A girlfriend. Can you put some time
In a
into
job. Also, let's not forget in a job.
Yeah. And Joe, are you doing this on your own, or are you getting assistance to find your movies?
I looked on IMDb. I looked at
IMDb?
IMDb.
Because that's what I want from
Joe.
this is your opportunity to subject us to something.
This is
you
what
know?
this is what sucked me in, Ryan. I asked Joe. This was like a week ago. I asked Joe how he was doing, and he said, "Well, I looked on IMDb, and there's only 18 movies." And I'm like, "What do you mean there's only 18 movies? What?" And he's like, "Yeah, I put it. What did you put in?
I
Cannibal?"
put in a cult and a cannibal, my 2 keywords.
Yeah, and I got 18 movies. And I'm like, that is not true. And so Joe wasn't using the system correctly. You got to
okay.
get in there, and I found like 100.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, like, how much occult or how much cannibalism is there in them? That's the thing. That's why you got to watch the movies. So you got to really figure. Here's what you should do, Joe. Watch the trailers for sure. Dig up a couple reviews. Look at the keywords in those reviews, and once you see a couple that kind of light up, have the things that you're looking for, go all in.
Yeah, I mean, I've got one I'm kind of leaning towards.
Okay.
So I'll have to look at it and see.
Okay.
Very good.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Watch the trailer a few more times. That'll help.
I mean, hey, Mike.
Stop killing comedy, boy!
Absolutely not. I don't believe in that bud.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in.
Hey, hope for Bad October.
No. That bud is copyright infringement.
Hey, everybody, Ryan and Brian. We had a great time today on Malevolent Movies Presents The Hunt for Bad October. A lot of goofs, a lot of gallants, a lot of ghosts, a lot of boobs, a lot of facial blasters. Be back here next week at the same time as we dive into Sledgehammer. Brought to you by...
Stop killing comedy,
Joe,
boy!
what were you screeching in the middle of it?
And I'm Pickle Boy.
Doesn't matter.
He's Pickle
Okay, Joe.
Boy.